Okay,
But
so we're gonna recount this down.
Alrighty.
Yep. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck
Alrighty.
to both of you.
Thank you. So, Magic Knight Rayearth, last game released in the US on the Saturn, Clamp, anime, manga, based off of Season 1 and first 3 volumes of the manga.
You stole that from me. Also, this is a Working Designs release. I know you all love Working Designs.
The best. They know how to localize games and make them harder because games are too easy.
Wow, I had an NPC walk into me, go into the elevator. I've never had that happen before.
I have an NPC that's currently trapped me in front of the thingy.
I have an important
The binoculars.
match tomorrow. We're wasting time here.
So here we're at Tokyo Tower. We have to talk to the other 2 girls that will join our party after a series of cutscenes. And for whatever reason, our dog knows how to use an elevator.
What are you doing here?
Is something wrong?
This cute little mutt is my very naughty dog. I have to catch him before he causes any
So,
trouble.
US version, fastest to run, for 2 main reasons. The first reason is that in the Japanese version, almost every line in the game is voiced, and you can't skip through voice text.
Oh, what a
In the US release, they only voice the intro and certain conversations with some people later. Also, in the Japanese version, anime cutscenes are unskippable, but they are skippable in the US release. So it makes about a 90 minutes of a difference. It's insane. So you're just gonna see a little black screen as we're skipping cutscenes. And now we're gonna be getting exposed to the evil villains of the game.
It appears that the Magic Knights have been summoned from beyond the barrier.
And so, the legend becomes an embarrassing reality.
What can they hope
So
to
this is
accomplish
based
using
on
these
an anime
children?
that existed, right?
Even if they
Yeah,
manage
an
to
anime and manga
reassemble,
series by
their power is
the
too
group
limited
Clamp,
to be of
who's
consequence.
known for a very specific
Quite
style.
true.
Is
My
this
liege.
Of course.
so
You
is
must
this
watch
the
them
story of the
closely to
anime, or
minimize
is this
any
like
chance
something where
surprises.
it's like, oh, an part of the anime has already happened? Are we in the middle of the story?
No, it's basically, as Kari said, it's a loose adaptation of the first season.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, first season or first 3 books of the 6 volume manga. Which was, I don't know when the manga was released. I know the anime came out around 95, because this game came out in 95. This game came out after the anime, because all the anime cutscenes that we were skipping and the opening theme are actually from
what
the
kind
anime
of
itself.
nightmare is this? That hurt.
Oh, okay.
Since
Yep.
we're all conscious of what's happening,
Would you
I
say
think we can
you
rule
like
out
the anime?
dreaming.
Have you seen it?
It was a figure of speech.
I've seen the first
whatever.
season. The
We have
second
to find out
season
what
of the
happened.
anime takes
What
a
is this
different
strange place?
sort of storyline
It appears
than
we've been
the
going out of
second
one
half of the
world
manga
and
does.
into another.
Like a lot of shows did back
One
then,
thing's for certain.
and even now.
This isn't Tokyo.
It's not bad.
As we were
The
following,
second
I
season
saw
is a little
floating
bit
mountain
weird
and a
compared
volcano in the distance.
between them, but it's a generally good
noticed that
story.
too.
It's
Though I
early
decided I
90s
might be
style
hallucinating.
and
Look,
one of
I'm
the
not in the mood to
early
compare tricks.
and
We've
more
got to
well
find a way
known, at
out
least
of
in the
here.
West, examples of
Well,
like the
why don't
literal
we
magic
introduce
knight
ourselves first?
sort of
What?
trope.
Admittedly,
Not just
this
magical
is a trying
magical girl,
circumstance,
but
we
like,
can
you know,
at
more
least stay
more
civil.
fighting and swords and
Introductions seem
stuff
like
like
a
that.
natural starting
Also
point.
giant robots.
Then we can put our
Welcome,
heads together
welcome
and
to
get out of
Blast the
here.
Process, where we raise
Count
Sega
me
awareness and talk about old 90s anime.
Then I guess
Oh,
I
yeah.
have no choice. Count me in too.
It's a shame I don't know any of the Slayers games for Saturn. Because they released some Slayers games for Saturn as well.
What? You're
Oh, really?
the
I didn't
same
know
age
that.
as me?
Yep, there's
You look
2
like you're
for
still in
Saturn.
elementary
What kind of
school.
games
There's a
are
lot of
they?
I must confess
RPGs,
that I have the
Oh,
very
okay.
same impression
I believe.
of you.
I have not actually played them,
Oh, honestly.
Gotcha.
but I own them.
I quite obviously am substantially more mature than you, Foo.
Are you going to bicker all day?
So basically, we're just doing a bunch of plot dumping of the series. Basically, we're in another world now called Sethro. It's in chaos because their princess was stolen,
You're more of a child
and
than I am.
we gotta go save the
I
princess.
have lived on this
'Cause
world
it's what you
for
do when you're in another world.
745 years.
What?
But who are you?
My name is Clef.
And
I
it's
am the
about
High
20
Priest of
minutes of
Sephiroth,
cutscenes before
and
we
your
really get
guide
to
in
the
this
meat of the
realm.
game. And the game is
Until you reach the end of your journey
similar to
together,
a Legend of Zelda
return
or
home.
Crusader Recenti to a certain extent, just as referencing a game from earlier in the marathon.
Does the music always cut out once Clef starts talking to you after his cutscene?
Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't noticed that before.
And whenever we cut to Zagoth's palace, it always plays the same cutscene. It's kind of dumb, but they do it. Like as a
Showing off their 90s CG.
yeah, it has really bad mid-90s CG.
It seems that our precious emerald is not bound as tightly as
So we get to
thought.
see the villain's perspective of what they're plotting as well.
Must be to revive the ancient machines.
We must have a plan to counter Emerald's activities.
So as a warning, there is giant robots in this game, so if you're a fan of Gundam, you might be in luck.
The ones summoned from beyond
Just a
the
little bit,
barrier
yes.
will be children.
Only near the end.
But now that Clef is guiding them,
This is a
there may
very
be more cause
highly
for
regarded
concern.
and generally well-known anime and manga by Clamp. Not as well-known as, say, as like Cardcaptor Sakura, which is like,
how do we
you know, the
remove
#1 Clamp anime that everybody knows. This Rayearth did not get any TV airing in the US. It was possibly going to, because I believe it was like, it was rumored or said that Fox got the license to it and then just weren't able to pare it down for TV.
Of
It
course.
did air in,
At least it wasn't
This world is known
yeah, I
as
think it
Earth.
aired it.
You have
It was
been
either in
summoned by
Mexico or
Princess
Italy. I don't
Emerald
remember,
to
but
fulfill your
I think
destiny
it got a
and
Latin
save us.
American airing actually, like
Oh,
a lot
that's
of
weird.
80s and 90s anime did.
Summon Ray Blast.
That's really weird.
Holy smokes.
I forget the title.
When
It's very
Emerald was
long.
free, this land knew nothing of danger and suffering.
I keep looking
All beings
over
of
at the
Sephiroth
feed
live
and
together
feeling
in
like
peace and
something's
harmony,
going wrong because
fearing
it's going
nothing.
on black. The loading
Now,
times take
This
forever.
world
Oh, yeah,
reigns
this
as
game
a
has a
god
lot of
Yeah.
those.
seeks to
Saturn.
engulf our very souls.
Yeah.
Mutant beasts
Welcome to
of
Saturn.
unthinkable savagery
Yep.
have consumed our world.
So
with
working
fear.
designs, as they tend to do,
All of this
they
came about simply
make
because the
changes to
princess
games they
was taken
localize,
from
like
them?
adjusting
Yes.
difficulty and maybe
Emerald was
adding
the
some
cornerstone
quality of
of
life
all
stuff.
Sephiroth.
For this game,
She
they
alone
made
held the power to defeat
enemies
the
generally have
Evils.
more health and do a bit more damage.
In our
Some
world,
bosses do a lot more
Simple thought
damage
is
to
the
the
most
point where they'll
powerful
one-shot
kind of
you.
magic. And a soul
They also
pure in
bosses
thought
generally have more
can
health.
wield more power than the
But they
most
also did some
ingenious
quality of life
of
stuff, like
evils.
reducing lag in some
Princess
places
Emerald
and removing
held our
some
world together
bugs that
quite
crash the
literally
game or repeat
with her
dialogue.
prayers.
But then
And
they
making
actually
it
had
that you can skip
away.
cutscenes, right?
Yeah,
And why would
and
anyone
yeah, the quality
want
of
to
life stuff
imprison
like
her?
skipping cutscenes and being able to match through
Has turned
dialogue
this
that's
black
unvoiced.
His lust for
Yeah, they actually
power
had to,
has pushed him to
either
bind the
them
princess
or
and hold her in
someone had to
darkness.
actually recode portions of the
It all
game,
just sounds so
which
very
actually kind of
barbaric.
pops up later with
How
a glitch
can
that
it
we'll be
be
doing
true?
that
And
we think
besides,
is
what
because of
relevance
that.
does this have to us?
Because some
We're
of the
not
source
of this
code of the
world.
game was apparently
Our
lost
best
during
soldiers,
the
knights,
translation
and
process.
magicians have tried and failed to defeat Zagoth.
Well, it was basically like after the game was released,
Simply
the
cannot
source,
challenge
some
the
like half the
strength
source code
of
was
his
lost,
thought
and working
successor.
designs just
That
had to
settles
rebuild
it.
the
We
game
will
based
become
on the
these
final
magic
product.
knights And save Emerald for you. Hey, hold on a minute. What makes you
And then
think
it still
you can
took,
speak
you know,
for the
2
rest
more
of us,
years after that or
princess?
whatever for the game to
It is
actually
by
come out
Emerald's wish
because
that you have been called to this
the
land.
head of Sega of America
Only
did
by
not like
claiming your
Japanese
destiny
games and
as
did not like
Magic
2D
Knight
games, and this
can
is a
her
2D
wish be
Japanese game.
fulfilled.
Yep, and an
only
early
when
one at
that
that.
happens will the way
And yeah,
home
in chat there we
be
got
open
the
to
title of
So in a
Rayearth in
nutshell,
Mexico,
we
so it
have no
did air in
choice.
Mexico.
To get
The
home,
Magical
we must
Warriors.
save Sephiroth.
you. Your destiny is to become magic knights and revive the machines.
Maybe it was the
Machines?
Italian name of
Can you
Slayers
wield
that was the
them and show
really
me your
long
skill
one.
right now.
So they give you a little dialogue option.
I had hoped
Choosing
that
that
you
you
would
do
have at least some
that you
magic
know
ability.
magic is a little bit
But no
faster
magic.
because there's a
Magic
delay before you can
transmission.
choose an option in the menu if you wanted to choose a different one, and the other dialogue is a bit longer.
Yeah, even though the first
What a
one is,
rush.
I think,
I've
2
never
text
felt
boxes, it's still a little
anything
shorter.
like that.
Yeah,
What was it?
I tried
just
to give
voice
some of
acting
my
speed.
magic, but it seems that instead.
Yes, and you can't
magic
skip the text
has
if it's
chosen
voice
you.
acted.
Yep.
Hikaru,
The,
close your eyes
Like
and feel
Shentok
the
said
power.
earlier, all the
Sense
majority of
the
I say
strength
majority of
swelling
text
within
boxes
your
are
very
voiced
soul.
in Japanese, like just in the
I
plot. They were in the
feel
English
it.
version they really front loaded it,
My
so it's
heart
most of the
seems
stuff in the
ablaze with
beginning
a
that's
sense of
voiced. And then there really isn't much for the rest of the game.
You experience the wellspring of your magic.
Instead, they voiced this thing called the Illustrated Diary, which is kind of this side thing you can access in the menu that kind of recaps story points from each of the girls, and all the voices are kind of crammed in there instead.
Yeah.
Summon Griffin.
And then they also have outtakes is like common to some Working Designs games where you can just listen to their flubs and it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think this is one of the earliest ones, or earlier ones, and also I guess few ones where you can access the outtakes without like just from a menu, because like in Lunar remakes you have to actually beat the game and then they play during the credits. Or after the credits or something.
Popple Mail has that, but you have to beat the game in like some crazy amount of time.
Oh man, yeah, and Growlancer, both in the games and Growlancer generations, have it from a menu option as well that's unlocked.
Interesting.
It's just nice to be able to just pop the game in and go, I'm gonna listen to the outtakes.
Yeah. And if you're familiar with Working Designs games, they generally share a lot of voice actors in between games.
Yeah, if we see the credits, you'll see, I think they're the first thing in the credits, you'll see the list of voice actors, and a lot of them were reused from Lunar. I think Ashley Angel does someone in this game. He was Alex in Lunar. And then a lot of the people who were in Working Designs even from the early days, you know, continued on throughout up until the end.
Oh, who is my favorite of the three girls? It has to be Umi.
I'm kind of a tie between Fu and Umi.
What's the difference?
Color of hair.
Still remember
vividly.
I mean, like Hikaru is like the you'll kind of see it from the dialogue later, but Hikaru's the quote unquote the uber main character. She's kind of the energetic one. Umi is the rich girl, a little bit snobby, but you know, she cares for her friends, and then Fu's the smart one because she has glasses.
Yep.
Oh, well done, Fu.
But each of the three characters have different styles of combat. Hikaru uses a sword, has a short attack range, but does like decent damage. Umi uses a rapier, has the longest attack range, but it's also thin. But it also does most damage because it's supposed to be, I guess, harder to hit or something like that. I don't know. And then Fu uses a bow. She's the weakest, but she has a charged homing attack that is really good in some places. But for like most boss fights, for physical damage, we'll use Umi because she does the most damage by a decent margin.
I wonder if Clef is all right.
But there are going to be fights where we won't use Umi as much.
Of course he's all right. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he's.
Well, actually, I'd say for the most part, for bosses, we mainly use our magic abilities because that just does the most damage by and far.
How positively.
And then, you know, we just magic burn down the bosses and then finish them off with Umi's melee attacks. It's Anthony, they're all the cute one. It is true.
Rayearth was actually the first, I think it was either the first or the second manga that I read.
Oh wow.
The other one being Sorcerer Hunters.
That's pretty cool.
And I remember as soon as I read the manga and watched the anime, I found out that the game existed. This is back in about 2003. So I was like tracking down the game even back then on eBay, and even back then it was like ludicrously expensive. So yeah, this game, being the last Saturn game released in the US, and just being in general a Saturn RPG and a Working Designs game, is really expensive for the US version.
Yeah, I think it's about like $350 to $400 for a complete copy now. I paid about $170 for mine several years ago.
Yeah, I paid $100 for mine back in 2012 or 2012.
Be careful,
dang.
You wouldn't want to fall.
But yours has the stickers that.
Yes, I have a more complete copy than Shentok does. I have the stickers and like the mail-in card and stuff in mine.
Also the better CD art.
Yeah, I have there were 3 CD arts released for this game because Working Designs did that a lot.
Yeah, they really made their releases special.
So I have the Umi disc.
I have the Fu disc.
And of course, there's a Hikaru disc out there.
Yeah, especially on the Saturn, they had different disc variants for their games. Like Dragon Force had 3 different discs printed.
I know Lunar on PS1 had, I want to say at least 4 sets, maybe
Dang.
5. I know there was like, I think 3 when it came out, and then another one added later when it got a re-release.
That's crazy.
That was the last one released is the fan art edition, so all the disc art was made by fans, which is kind of cool.
Speaking of Clef,
Yeah, that's really
what
cool.
are we gonna do now? He's been immobilized.
I knew someone on a message board
I
who
won't
collected
believe it
every
until I
single
see it
variant of
myself.
Lunar out
We
there.
must go back.
So
Just
not
the start as
Isn't
cutscenes.
that rather dangerous?
Not only every like discard
We can't
version, but
leave him
every
back there
released
if he's in
version, including the
trouble.
very
What
rare
kind of
like
person would
PC
suggest that?
Korean version or something.
Please, try to stay calm. Raised
As a
voices
note,
won't
I
solve
looked
our
it up.
problem.
Currently, you can
Hikaru,
get a
if we
full
go back
copy
and
of
find
Magic
he
Knight
is
Rayearth
stoned,
for
we don't have the means
$400
to reverse the
on
spell.
eBay.
Besides, don't
Or
you
if you
remember
want
that
to
Clef
play
told us
the
to save
Japanese
Sephiroth
version,
at all
$12.
costs?
Oh yeah, the
Yep.
Japanese version is cheap, but
Going back now would play right
It's
into the hands of
slower.
those
It's a
But yeah,
lot
I paid
slower.
for it. I got
Slower.
mine.
To save Sephiroth, we must follow
I think it's a
Clef's
complete
instructions,
Japanese
move
copy. I
forward
got it for
at any
$5
cost.
out of a bargain bin.
You're missing like the sleeve and the art book.
We have to press on.
But
If I remember right, Clef's instructions were that we
unless they had like 2
should
releases, because
head
mine had
east.
like a cardboard
Yes,
sleeve and an
I'm
art
sure
book.
of it now.
Yeah,
You
they
said
might
to
have
head
had
east
a
in the
like
Forest
limited
of
edition
Silence
release
to
something.
meet
Oh my god, I'm
Chrysia.
actually moving now.
Oh dang,
my.
you're ahead of me.
I wonder if
We're
this
there.
could be the Forest of
I know, we
Silence.
actually have a slight bit of
there's only
movement
one way to
before
find
more
out.
cutscene.
Let's
Yeah,
get moving.
but at least that's the last of the voice cutscenes for a while.
I'm pretty sure, like, an RPG that starts with 20 minutes of cutscene is kind of a normal RPG thing, though.
Yeah,
Unless it's like an NES
Anybody
or like
home?
Master System
It seems as if no one is at
RPG,
home right
in
now.
which case you get nothing.
Perhaps this isn't
gotta
even
take advantage of
Chrysia's
that CD
house.
space.
Exactly.
But once we get done with these cutscenes, we'll get into the meat of the action, and then things will pick up speed really quickly.
What kind of person leaves their home unlocked?
Because basically,
It's
there's
not
this
safe.
cutscene here. There's
let's
one
not
more that's
waste
the
time just
first of
talking
4
about it.
tutorials that are voice acted,
You mean
and then the only
go
cutscenes with
into
voice
the
acting after that
house?
are
Isn't that bad
cutscene
manners?
dialogue between the
Okay,
villains.
Fine. You stay out here with your manners and the monsters, and we'll go in.
Or if you're playing the Japanese version, apparently 90 minutes, you said?
Yeah, an extra 90 minutes.
Yeah, I actually
fun.
haven't played through my Japanese copy like completely, but I don't know which scenes or voiced extra. But then also you can't skip any of the animated stuff.
Yep. The only in the main, at least in the speed run, the only cutscenes I found that weren't voice acted were ones near the end with Rafarga, and that was it. Oh yes, Makona, our little buddy that's gonna follow us around,
He's the mascot.
because we need a mascot.
Makona's also the name or nickname of one of the ladies in the Clamp manga circle.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I actually didn't know that.
I think they named the character after her.
That's pretty
And
cool.
Makona's kind of also the Clamp like overall mascot character. He's also appeared in Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle, which was like Clamp's giant crossover manga that they did in the early 2000s. Also, there's a black Makona in that one, I think.
He kind of reminds me of Ryoki.
I love Ryoki. That's where half my name comes from.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, that's awesome.
Kariohki. Kari's from Digimon. Yeah, no one knows that. They're like, oh, like the singing thing. I'm like, no, it's anime. I was like 12 when I came up with this name,
And it's stuck.
and it stuck because it wasn't taken anywhere.
So now we're finally getting some weapons, but they're not our real weapons. They're basically just borrowed weapons. They don't let us do a charged attack, so they're not that great. But we don't get to choose them, they choose us, kind of thing.
I hope you didn't like the fourth wall because it's getting shattered right now.
The fourth wall is not your friend.
Clef,
And Precia's Mysterious Sephro Lecture number 1.
So you see that there's number 1, there's 4 of these. They basically, whenever we learn a new ability, they tell us about it.
It is foretold that Makona will be no end of help.
And they
to
treat
the
you like
Magic
children,
Knights.
because only children play
you should
games.
already know to press start in order to access the command menu.
And there you can use items that Makona is holding for you and change various settings.
The most important command to remember is illustrated diary writing.
Use it often, and you will have many wonderful memories of your adventures. You now know the basics. Time to end this.
So basically, we're now learning how to save, because that's important. Although we never save in the run,
Kids,
because that would be silly.
Does that make it an issue if you die?
No, the game is very friendly on dying. If you die, you go back to, like, the start of the dungeon or town you're in.
Oh, okay. So is this run, like, super difficult or, like, really easy? Or in between? No,
It's mostly easy. I would say it gets difficult near the end on the US version, but other than that, it's not a very challenging run. Then I guess it was more endurance than anything.
I was about to say, it's just challenging to get through it all.
Yeah, well, it's just challenging to start a run because of that long start, but after that, it picks up pace, and then you're just waiting on loading screens.
So I'm in the first dungeon now. This is the
Forest of Silence.
Forest of Silence, yes. Don't want these caterpillars kind of move randomly. You don't want to run into you. So if you'll notice, hopefully, if when I move long enough here, I will start running. You can't run on command just yet. There we go. So you want to keep moving as long as you can and not crash into anything.
Yep.
Because then you'll wow, Foo slid really far. You can't run on command until later in the game. So you want to keep moving for a certain number of like walk cycles until you start running. And then you want to keep that running. And the controls are a little bit slippery.
Get used to it.
You do get used to it, but you just have to be careful when like you're starting out or just not used to how far you'll move when running and jumping and whatnot.
Yep.
So yeah, we ran into a guy here. This is Fario. He's a
Pretty
mercenary hunter type guy, and he wants to be our bodyguard.
Also, in this dungeon, we want to follow a specific route, because if you go the wrong way, it basically blocks off your path until you go back. 'Cause it's supposed to be like a tricky maze.
Oh hey, I kept my running speed after the cutscene.
Really? Dang.
Yeah, or I got the fast run or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I started moving, and I'm like, oh hey, I'm running.
So for the most part, this run is pretty pacifist-oriented. We only kill enemies that we actually have to kill. And for whatever reason, there's a cutscene that kills your movement, and you gotta start running again. Yeah.
Oop, I pressed the wrong button and didn't jump.
I've done that.
I was in Silmir mode. I'm like, oh, C is jump.
I've done that. So now we've hit a dead end, and we're gonna eat some extremely giant food.
Because, you know, we've been in the forest for so long.
So we need to eat food as big as us. And there's like a thing there that looks like cheese or an omelet. It's hard to tell.
Or it's pie. It could be pie, too.
Or a quesadilla.
And anime meat.
Yep.
Gotta love the anime meat. I mean, you've all heard of wall chicken. This is Makona chicken.
The frittata. That's what it is. So Mokona's found our way out into a trap. And then that's when everybody learns their powers, and then we can finally use magic.
Also because we're out of the forest to silence, that silence is magic.
Yep.
Because the enemy's actually trying to be smart, you know? Because she's magic-based. I mean, this cutscene where Fario protects Fu is kind of funny, because the ice daggers that Alcyone shoots never really hit him, they just kind of go over him. and he still gets like really badly hurt.
Oh yeah, you can also get shoes in this game that make that sound that Pooh makes. So you can every time you make a step, it'll make that sound, and it gets really annoying really fast.
Poo 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 poo.
Yeah,
So if you didn't notice, you'll hear it more when you use your magic or get hit or anything with your sprites. They still have their Japanese voice acting, because I guess Working Designs figured, oh, you know, they're actually speaking Japanese, so just leave them like that.
Yeah.
They did that in Growlancer 3 as well with the far eastern looking character. They left her Japanese voice clips in for her like battle win and magic casting and stuff too.
Huh, that's pretty crazy. I mean, my assumption for the reason I'm doing that in this game is because the memory space you get for sound effects is really tiny on the Saturn, and the Japanese, of course, is pretty quick to pronounce versus saying it in English. And that was my guess for that, but if they're doing it for Growlancer 3, that's a little strange.
Yeah, they actually admitted to that one, that they left it in, because, it sounds more, true to her character to do that. Everyone else has, English clips when they win the battle or whatever in that game. It's only that one character that does it.
Interesting. So now we're going to enter some trials, basically to get a mineral called a scudo to make our magic weapons that evolve with our heart, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like your thoughts, basically. Your thoughts, your feelings. Because the world of Sephiroth is powered on thought, basically.
Yep, and those who have the most powerful thoughts have magic. Or could turn that thought into magic.
Something like that, yeah. So the ones with the most powerful thoughts have the most powerful magic. So these fights can go like really easily, or they can be kind of, especially the middle one can be kind of trolly.
Yep. Bark, bark. So our dog's attacking us, and now we gotta put him down. Even though it's not really our dog. And then Umi's parents attack Umi. Basically, it's supposed to be just like a reflection of your deepest fears of the character.
Yeah, like what's the thing you care about most, like, attacking you?
Yeah. And apparently Fu only cares about herself. And so these fights are kind of weird. For the first two fights, you can only damage the boss or the enemy with magic, but you have to hit them with your weapon to have them drop like these little magic refill balls. So that's like how you have to kill them, because at this early in the game, you only get enough to cast your spell once. And for whatever reason, you don't start out with full health on these fights.
Well, it's because you get hit, so...
Oh, I missed a hit. There we go. A little bit sloppy.
I'm playing it safe, so... Just waiting for Flash to run to the left before I hit him, because it's easier to hit him that way, and then wait for Umi's parents to stop moving before aiming your magic. Also, the hurt box on the parents is like really weird.
Yeah, it is.
So Flash only needs 3 hits to go down. Parents need 4.
And I don't know how many hits Fu needs, but I keep attacking.
I think she needs 5, but
Basically, Fu has healing magic, Umi has water magic, Hikaru has fire magic, and it's just based on the color of their clothing.
Well, Fu's like wind as well.
Yeah, it's true, because yeah, it's like a healing wind.
Yeah, Fu takes 5 hits.
Oh, okay, dang.
I counted.
So yeah, 3, 4, 5. But basically, when you damage Fu's clone, it hurts you, so you have to heal through the damage.
But you have longer iframes than the enemy does, so you can hit her twice if your timing's good.
Oh, you can hit her several times.
I usually go for it twice because I'm bad.
No, I just mash the attack button. And try to... I mean, like, after the first couple of hits, I try to be conservative, just because you could die. But at least dying on that fight, you only start off that part of the fight over, so it's not like you're doing all 3 fights again.
Yeah, it's very helpful how it's very nice with that. You don't want to mash. I always think there's like another cutscene after you get the Escudo, but so I've like wasted a magic shot when leaving because I'm apparently what Shentok says that I mash really fast. So there's points where I'll be mashing out of a cutscene and then use magic by accident, like before a boss battle actually starts or something. So I usually have to be careful when I'm mashing because I mash too fast.
If I'm near like a boss or something, I'll just only mash A, because you can mash A and C to advance text, and mashing C also advances animated cutscenes. Also, so you have to follow the same way out that you came in, otherwise you'll be just hit by dead ends or infinite loops. Ooh, almost ran the entire way out. One of those little red things hit me.
By one of the gnat things, yeah.
Yeah. So now that we have our Escudo, we can get our real weapons and finally get through the game. Oh yeah, and then we'll also have a tutorial dungeon that explains like the basic mechanics of like pushing blocks.
Yeah, the reason you get a Escudo is because not only so you have a weapon that's for you, but a weapon that's like made especially for you will also grow with you and is supposed to get like stronger or whatever.
Yep. It basically enhances your magic and your health and all that stuff. Makes you stronger as a person. And so we'll be having our last voiced cutscene for a while. With our villain friends.
Zegat, my lord, please.
So Halcyon has failed. Zegat has a zero tolerance policy.
I underestimated their strength.
Your
I
waifu.
was unprepared.
And Ori.
But next time, I'll surely...
Silence. There shall not be a next time, dear Alcyone.
What?
I think this is one of the longer, like, of the last of the voice cutscenes left. There's like this one, and I think the one later.
Master Zegat!
Yeah, the
like,
next
kind of
one after
before
this
the
is the
waterfall
swimming
dungeon.
one. Is where you're the swimming tutorial. That's the next one,
I
I
mean,
think.
like, for the evil people cutscenes.
Oh, yeah.
This one's kind of long, and then the one
This one
with Alcyone and Caldina is kind of long too. The other ones are just kind of like the length. Some of them, the length of the actual like scene is shorter than the loading time.
Yeah, it's awful.
Alcyone was never suited to the task at hand. Zegat, there's still a chance to
Worse
stop
than
them.
Queen Barrel.
And I'll show them how we play.
Yeah, don't fail Zegat or you get turned to ice.
Favorable news.
Or crystal, I guess. Actually, you don't get turned to crystal, you get encapsulated in it.
Yeah, she gets trapped in it.
But as we'll find out later, it's more for show than anything. Alright, now we finally get our real weapons, even though they're functionally the same as ours, just with a charged attack. Oh yeah, our charged attacks also become more powerful in different ways. Like Umi's and Hikaru's get a longer range. And Fu's, I don't know what her charge attack changes, because it seems the same throughout the entire game. Maybe it does more damage? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Actually, wait, no, you get more arrows, that's right.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because
I've never counted the arrows.
Because you get 3... I remember you get 3 when you're fighting Caldina, and then I remember when I was playing around Heaven's Labyrinth earlier, you get 5. And it gets super laggy.
I never noticed that.
So now we're in a new town, and they're being plagued by a monster. And being the helpful people we are, we want to help. We want to meddle in everyone's problems. So we're gonna talk to a fellow named Lucino, who touts himself as the greatest magician in all of Sephiroth, even though he's just a nobody. And he erected a barrier to keep the monster out, but it's not working. So we step in and do his job for him. But Lucino, being the nice guy he is, he's going to impede us every step of the way. Like, he even warns us, says, hey, don't go into that dungeon. It's like, it's too dangerous, you shouldn't be there. You're just a bunch of girls. But in reality, he's just worried about his pride.
Oh, the text box is so laggy when he's talking to you at the do you leave the mayor for some reason?
Yeah, there's no reason particularly why. I guess there's just like a lot of stuff on the screen, maybe. But it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I know. It's just like little things like that that are funny.
No. Basically, Working Designs always does in-house voice acting, so all the characters you hear are only... or all the voice acting you hear is only to this game. The anime has a different voice acting.
Yeah, actually also as well, the anime has a different dubbed opening theme. So, both the game and the anime have the same opening theme, like the same tune, dubbed into English. The lyrics and singer are different, and I strongly prefer the Saturn version's opening than the anime one.
Yeah, I haven't heard the anime one.
I'll link it to you. It's pretty awful.
Oh, I mean, I have it. I can listen to it later.
It's pretty awful. Of course, over all of them is the original Japanese version.
Yeah. So, for some reason, someone put a giant metal ball of death and they painted it with stripes, and it's being used against us. That poor old Coot is trying to get us killed. So this is the tutorial dungeon, basically teaches you about the basics of push-block puzzles. Most of the puzzles in this game are pretty menial. Ooh.
Just push blocks the right way. There's some there's one later where it's just puzzle room after puzzle room, and it can kind of get a little tricky, but don't forget the treasure chest. We open the only 2 treasure chests that not the only 2. There's a couple treasure chests we open later, but this is the only time we get money in the game for any reason.
Well, it's optional. Basically, there's a boss later where it's really handy to have extra mana potion, but you can go without it, and it may be faster. I don't know. I'm personally.
I think I had enough magic ups on Umi at the Tree of Life boss that I didn't need to use a second potion on that boss.
Oh, that's cool.
Or maybe it was Caldina. I don't remember. There was a boss where I didn't need to use a second potion.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I moved the block, wrong block.
So I'm opting not to go for that potion, just to show off a different way of doing a later boss.
Okay, you can be fancy like that. I'll get the potion.
So here, normally you're supposed to take that platform to get across, but you can jump across if you position yourself correctly.
I can't do that. I've tried. I just, die falling all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. You have to
Especially
kind
when
of
you
run
can't
into it.
run. You can't start a running jump at that point.
Yeah. So we just talked to that mirror. Every time you see a mirror, it means that there's a new Magicka spell to learn, and we just learned Fu's only offensive magic spell, and the only one that we're going to learn for in the game because of a skip later.
Yeah, each character... Oh, come on. I keep getting stuck on the edge there. There we go.
And we have to use this magic to basically get this guy out of the way because he's using a giant fan, preventing our movement forward.
Should have said that in the first place. I'm trying to be fancy and switch to Fu to go to the mirror, and I switched too early, and then the Minotaur got in my way.
Alright, so now we're getting to the first boss of the game, a giant crab spider. And he's super easy. We're basically going to burn him down with magic. And this is one of only a few fights where Fu's magic, offensive magic, is on par in damage with everyone else's. Like, I can only think of 2 other fights where that's the case. And basically the reason we're using magic is because you can only attack him physically when he's on the ground like that. When he's moving around, you can't hit him, but you can hit him with magic as magic ignores height.
Your movement must be really good if you're ahead of me. You said you ran like most of the way through the forest, so...
Yeah. So we've used up all our magic, and now we're just gonna wait for him to land and then hit him with our weapon. And he's being rude. Uh-oh.
I'm curious, when do you usually split? When you leave the cave or when you beat the boss?
When I should probably change that, but I'm lazy. And I missed a hit, so he did an extra movement cycle. There we go, and he turns back into a tiny little spider. So now Lucino has seen the error of his way, and he's now a nice guy. But
there were too many sprites on the screen or something when I used the wind, and all the spider's legs disappeared.
Yeah, that always happens. I don't know why. But now that the spider has been exploded, we were greeted by the townspeople for getting rid of it, and we give Lucino the credit because we have to go on our way. And for whatever reason, that's a good deed to perpetuate a lie.
Yes, all bosses explode.
That's right, they do. Except for the turtle boss.
Turtles are friends, so...
That's true. We don't actually kill it. So now we can move on to the next town, Taflon by the Sea. Has very lovely music, and we're going to learn how to swim there. But first we have to solve someone's problem. Basically, there's this fella named Kaltus, strongest swimmer. I think he's like a fisherman too. Was unable to save some girl's pet, and decided to cloister himself off in despair. And we're gonna go set him straight so that he can teach us how to swim by yelling at him and berating him, because that works, of course. So basically, they encourage you to talk to the townspeople in order to advance the story, but there's really only 2 people you have to talk to. You have to talk to this guy in this house who mentions about Kaltus, And then a little girl who lost her pet but now has a new pet and has moved on. Because clearly she's pretty quick to move on. Now we've been, also we can now do fast travel in this game. If you press the Y button when you're outside a dungeon, you can go to the world map and fast travel to any places you've already visited. So we can just use that to go straight back to Polyzoo, where Kaltis has sealed himself off. And then we're just going to be mean to him. And then by doing so, he'll be nice to us.
Because that's how that works, right?
Oh, yeah.
NPCs just want to keep trying to get in my way.
Yep, had that same problem.
So I'm stopping at the shop here to buy a magic potion with my 100 gems, and you just sit it takes a little bit because you just sit through the shopkeeper doing a little dance to, like, hand it to you or something.
Yeah. She dances you your potion.
Yeah, the only items in this game to, like, use are the magic and health potions, and then you can also pick up, obviously there's the HP and MP jewels that you can pick up to increase your HP and MP on a character, and there's also these things called rainbow gems. There's 7 of each color, I think 7 of 7 colors.
There's 8 of 7 colors.
Oh, 8 of 7 colors. Math. So you'll get those, and you can go to this place called the Rainbow Junction Shop to buy stuff that, like, unlocks the secret menu and whatnot.
Yep, if you collect all 56, you unlock outtakes and some extra little things, and you can also unlock things like Makona's shoes, which make Makona's sound. There's a secret diary you can purchase. Let's see, there's also an item that refreshes your mana when you're standing still. And there's also some embarrassing pictures of Precia that aren't all that embarrassing. Like, I think one of them, she's eating an apple or something like that.
Yeah, it's just like standard Japanese girl embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I think you have to buy every single one of those so you can buy the secret diary or something at the end.
No, they're separate.
Or is it the shoes? I don't remember.
No, they're all separate. Basically,
okay.
You can only buy one photo at a time, and each time you have to see Precia about it before you can buy the next one. So, Kaltis, being the nice guy he is, he just tosses us in the water, and expecting us to already know how to swim. And you can see us drowning. And suddenly, just by flailing arms, we know how to swim. Except for Fu, she needs a lifesaver to swim.
Class.
And we get our second tutorial of the game.
Mysterious Sephiroth Lecture number 2! Hikaru and the others have mastered the skill known as Roaring Rapid Wave Cut.
And every ability that we learn has these crazy elaborate names.
Now they can journey to the ice cave on the island to the north.
By pressing the attack button
They can
while
swim
in the water,
like beavers.
the girls swim forward.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Is that
when
easy?
Hikaru's in her panic sprite,
Okay,
she
that's
has,
it for
like,
now.
cat
We hope
ears.
you're enjoying the
Yeah,
game.
it's
Which is like
really
a
adorable.
thing from the manga, where she's kind of, you know, cat-like, so she gets kitty ears.
And so to swim, you just mash the attack button. Up to a certain point, the faster you mash, the faster you go. And now we can swim through whirlpools. Sort of. So basically we have to navigate these whirlpools to get to the next dungeon. And if you don't know the path, it's really annoying. Because, like, the whirlpools just, like, pull you all over the place. And we're relying on their velocity to move us really quickly around. Or their pull, not velocity.
Science.
Words. So there's like a specific path you can follow to get there reasonably quickly. There might be a faster one, but it's a pain in the neck to do any other paths.
Yeah, it's just easier to go all the way, like, up, like, left, up, and around to...
Yeah, and you get a lot of speed from
Hit it.
the whirlpools too, sometimes. So now we're in this dungeon, and it mainly focuses on Hikaru's magic, because it's ice, and of course fire melts ice. Ooh. Dang, those guys hurt.
You don't want to run into enemies, they're not friendly.
Yeah, in the Japanese version, like, most enemies only do like 1 point of damage. So we just use our fire to get that, and then we want to farm some mana so that we can do it again later. Nice, I got good RNG on that. So mana can either give you 1 or 2, depending on... Ooh, I fell in the water. Come on. Not jumping. Okay, whatever. I made it. The jump button was not cooperating. And more often than not, it's 1 when you need to. So now we just gotta put these ice blocks on the switches, and then it'll let us through. And the reason we want to fill up our mana is because we need to do that attack once more to get the next spell for Hikaru.
No, whirlpool! I went too much left too soon.
Oh no. Oh dang, I'm getting owned.
Hello, can you take me out of the whirlpool, please? Thank you. Alright. No, now up, okay. I had a lot easier time of that yesterday.
So we don't want Hikaru to die because we need her to finish this dungeon.
Yeah, if Hikaru gets knocked out, like, before a certain point when you still need her, then you kind of just have to
Die and start the dungeon over.
knock everybody out and start over, yeah.
Okay, so basically we just needed her to clear these ice blocks with our new spell. And that opens the door. And then for the rest of the dungeon, you can just be Fu because you need her to hit a switch with her arrow. And also, she's really good at clearing a specific room because she's the only one with like area clear magic this early in the game.
Come on, get on the right pixel to push the block, please.
Oh yeah, block pushing can be finicky. So in this room, we have to clear all these little gnat thingies. Let's see, I missed one. And they don't do any damage, but they can be a nuisance. And so with these ice blocks, once you push them, they keep going until they hit a wall or another obstacle. So this puzzle is basically like you have to move the blocks in a certain way in order to hit all the switches. And then before each boss, they let you refill your health, which is just wonderful.
Yeah, those like little fountains.
Yep. And so that little, if you pay attention in that one house with the girl and the little pink monster, we're gonna be killing that little pink monster. Because poor little Jiminy, as he's named, becomes a giant monster through evil magic.
Please drop mana, I need it.
Oh, you're having some bad luck with mana drops?
Yeah.
Dang.
I think I need one more for Hikaru's thing, so I need 3.
Yeah. That's tough. I haven't had it that bad.
There we go. Just make sure I pick it up with Hikaru.
Yeah.
I had to exit the room like twice.
Dang, that's rough. I've never had it that bad, dang.
I just kept getting money.
So now, I forget the little girl's name.
Sarah.
Sarah, that's it. And now Sarah's house is destroyed thanks to Zagod's minion. And Jiminy is now a big evil monster. And so this fight's pretty easy. We also burn it down with magic, since he has a lot of time where he's in the air and you can't physically attack him in the air. And our magic just generally does more damage anyways. And so now we're going to lead him over to the right side, because if you're on the right side, he can't hit you at all. And see, he does like these like little attacks, and we can always just keep him in the same spot.
Sometimes he floats up a little bit for like too long. It's like you kind of sneak in on him to make sure he attacks you.
Yeah. Textbook fight. He actually gave me some good RNG. And now poor Jiminy is dead because he can't sustain that magical form that was given to him. And also we did a number on him. And now in a cutscene we get Sarah's pretty pissed off at us for killing her pet. But she gets over it pretty quickly. And then we also get our first giant machine that conveniently goes into a jewel on the girl's chest. Well, I guess it's not little, they're pretty big, they're like the size of their fists.
Yeah. But, you know, it just, you know, you would think maybe you can summon them.
Yeah.
Or something. No, it just sits around till the end of the game.
Yeah, I think they say something like the robots aren't ready yet until you're strong enough or something like that.
Yeah, to like handle their power or something.
Yeah. And so they appear as as like giant beasts, like this one's like a water dragon, and it turns into a giant robot. And we get another nice little cutscene with Zagot.
I'm just entering the Jiminy fight. Once the game loads.
My mascot. Pity that you've returned a failure.
Innova, wait!
And there's still poor Alcyone trapped in Crystal.
Caldina?
And now enter the next of Zagot's minions, the last one I think that gets introduced. And so we get pink-haired Caldina, who's apparently a pretty good dancer.
Oop, I missed a water dragon.
Dang. Yeah, it can be kind of wonky because you have to kind of shoot at an angle when he's up in the air. So now that we've obtained the machine, the whirlpools are gone. Because I guess the machine was causing it or something like that by our presence, maybe? I'm not sure. Like, they don't really go into that. It's just after we've done what we've done, all of a sudden, it's all clear. And now we can go to the next town, which has been plagued by a volcano. Although it's not the volcano that the intro of the game was referring to. And basically, the volcano erupted and completely changed the climate of this area called Rosen into an ice tundra kind of place, when it wasn't like that before.
Even though now it's called like the Ice Village of Rosen, so.
Yeah. And here we're gonna experience a lot of lag, as there's a lot of NPCs on the screen at one point. And here I'm going to switch to Fu, just like for a little bit of positional advantage in a cutscene. Because basically, you end up where one of the NPCs is in the cutscene, or where one of the characters is, and Fu is the closest to where we want to go next, even though it's just like only like maybe a fraction of a second difference.
Save the frames.
Yeah, exactly. And so Ferio's playing the flute for the ladies, and Fu kind of has a thing for Ferio. And Fu's being jealous about that. Ooh, that was weird. It made like a strange static noise when I opened the door. It does that once in a while. It's weird. So now we're going to stay in an inn and get woken up in the middle of the night because strange things are happening. Turns out Ferio was trying to distract the people from Caldina the Dancer, who was hypnotizing people to try to do her bidding, which is mining this mine that's here to try to search for the ancient machine before we get to it. But plot twist, it's not there in the first place.
You said that Caldine is like the last of like Zagat's minions, and there's one more after her.
Yeah, but I mean like the last one that gets like has an introduction.
Oh yeah, that has like a special anime cutscene of coming out of the waterfall and everything.
Yeah.
Now I'm swimming.
Yay, the joy of swimming. Alright, so the person who runs this inn is like, hey, help us out. And we're like, okay.
We need to do good deeds for our Escudo to level up, so...
Yep. So now we're gonna go into the next cave where Fairy is waiting for us. And he tries to apologize, and Fu decides to be a jerk and tells him off. And now Fu regrets it. People are pretty quick with their emotions in this game.
They're teenagers.
True. So this dungeon's kind of confusing to get around if you don't know what to do, because there's like a lot of branching paths. But it's just basically one giant room with a bunch of connecting paths.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra stuff you can get in this dungeon. There's like a number of rainbow crystals and a couple of, I think an HP upgrade and stuff that we don't need.
Yeah.
So you just take the main path and it's...
We're only here for Umi's second spell in order to put out some torches. I keep wanting to press B to swim for some reason. And so basically any health and magic upgrades we give them to Umi, because she's our main source of damage, so we want her to be strong. But we only get 1 health upgrade and 3 mana upgrades in the run, which is basically enough to give her 1 extra spell cast much later in the game, and 1 extra HP to survive an extra hit on a boss, in case she gets hit. This is more of a like just in case kind of thing.
Yeah, sometimes I pick up another health upgrade because it's just right there in the way. I don't know if it helps any or not, and I don't know how. I actually don't know how many mana upgrades I pick up. Do you get the one in before the ice cave?
No.
Oh, see, I get that one.
Oh, okay.
Just because I usually pass by it on my path of swimming, so I usually pick that one up, and I think I don't know if that gives me an extra. By the time I get to like Tree of Life or something, if that gives me an extra.
You get enough just by completing the Tree of Life. Because there's.
Or like getting before it, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Whatever it does is, I feel like I had an extra magic shot at one point, but also my habits are hard to break, so I'm just used to grabbing that mana because I see it and I'm like, I want that.
That's fair. So now we're gonna do the first Caldina fight, and I say first because there's another one later. And this one is mainly Fu oriented in that she's the only one that can do regular attacks, but we're gonna use our magic first to burn that to get some extra damage in, because Fu's attacks are really weak. And she just shoots projectiles as well, and she can also do like a dancing attack. There we go.
Yeah, Caldina can be annoying.
Ooh, missed that. But
Especially
thankfully
then,
with
if
Fu,
Fu gets knocked out, then it's just over. Nope, I don't wanna
not
go
necessarily, but it's a lot harder to finish the fight, because basically then
yeah.
you have to guess when she does that dance around you which one's the real her. and that's really difficult because they all look the same.
Yeah, they all look the same, except like the one that you need to hit is gonna be displaced slightly. So it's gonna be dancing at a different rate than the others, but it's also very hard to see because you always have stuff flying like over you. So maybe when you see her spin around, you have the foreground in front of you and you can't really see what's going on.
Yeah. There we go. So now Caldina makes her escape, and we apologize to Fario for being a jerk to him. Or at least Fu does. And Fu has a crush on him, even though our goal is to return home back to Tokyo.
Because every girl has to get paired up in this. Fu and Fario's like the only one that they kind of push in the first season. Hikaru ends up with like 2 guys in season 2.
Dang.
And then depending on the anime or the manga, it's different who Umi ends up with.
I know that Abner hits on Umi in this game, but Umi's like not having any of it.
Who did you say? And say?
Abner.
I don't think he's in the anime. So.
Oh, okay. He's just there. He's just there for this game.
Yeah, in the manga, Umi gets with a aged up ascot. Apparently, he's like older than he really is, or time difference or something. And then in the anime, she gets with Clef.
What? That's crazy.
Because, spoilers for the second season of the anime, they go back to Sephiroth.
Yeah.
They end up in Sephiroth again because reasons and stuff
we gotta
happens.
continue the series. So now we have to talk to the innkeeper again. Tells us how to get to where we need to go, and basically we have to talk to a fellow named Rafarga to learn a new technique in order to break the boulder that's blocking our exit. So instead of Rafarga doing it for us, he's going to teach us how to do it for ourselves. And Rafarga, he used to be like a knight for the princess, but now that the princess is captured, he hides himself in exile, trying to hide his shame.
Oh, I just barely missed that.
But seeing our determination, he's willing to help us. So we're just gonna bash her head against some ice for a while. Also, I like this cutscene in Japanese because it's just basically Rafarga saying "mura mura mura mura." So now we get to stay in his massively huge bed. And then we get a nice little cutscene that kind of gives more into Rafarga's backstory and why he's helping us and all that jazz. Because he's actually a pretty cool dude. Ora, ora, ora. So
I
now,
usually end up... I had Hikaru die in the Caldina fight. Luckily, it's after the magic. But I always end up having someone get knocked out because I unleash my arrows, or like Fu's arrows come, like, get hit, and like when Caldina disappears to her dancey thingy, and then they end up hitting the wrong one because they just home in on whatever.
yeah. So Umi's afraid of a bug, and we come in and save the day and learn how to break brittle walls.
You've just mastered the skill known as the pulverizing bash.
Indeed.
The
By
insect
running
get
to
no
increase your
respect.
speed, the power to throw yourselves increases as well. You can destroy places with weak
True that.
foundations or small
That's like the
cracks
one
with
cutscene I wish they had voiced in
incredible
English, just so I could hear it in English, because in Japanese it's hilarious when you hear Umi scream and Hikaru's like running in, it's like, hey, what's wrong?
ease. Make a good approach. Start
It's a
running and
bug!
Yeah.
boom!
That's all for today, kids. We'll let you get back to your
That
game
was the
now.
most, and I just
Have
passed the
fun.
shortest, most pointless enemy, like evil people cutscene. One line. Giant loading screen.
And also remember to boom. It's the true hero. Also, I knocked off my headphones. Okay, so now we can leave this dreary ice place to go into go inside a volcano where it's much warmer. Because we really want to be warm, and there's no place warmer than a volcano. Toasty. I remember always getting a kick out of that whenever you pull that off in Mortal Kombat.
I never actually played Mortal Kombat. I just like that noise.
Yeah. Alright, so now we're going through a dungeon. Actually, it's not really a full true dungeon. It's more of like a connection between towns, because it's fairly short. There's no boss. And so we're just going to damage boost through these flames, since we can survive it. And it's a lot faster than killing them. And now we're just going to try our best to run through and avoid the lava puddles, because they hurt a lot in the US version. And some of them also have eyes and turn into lava monsters.
Sometimes I forget you have movement for like the tiny part where you need to walk down and talk to Rafarga. And I've like gotten distracted. Oh wait, I should have started moving 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, that happens.
You were only an hour in, how could I be distracted?
Well, because we still have an hour and a half to go. Well, maybe 2 hours.
2 hours. I'm ahead of my splits right now, so
Nice. I have no idea where I'm at because I didn't think to load a timer. I just figure I can if it says I have a PB on stream, then I'll just time it myself. But I highly doubt that'll happen.
I forgot to record via Amarek, although it threw that error at me again, so I don't know if we even record.
No, that's too bad. So now we enter a town that's caught fire, and some kid is stuck inside a mansion, a really big mansion, and we have to go save him.
What is this, Final Fantasy VI?
Yeah. Was it a trap in Final Fantasy VI as well?
There's 2 times when a kid gets trapped in a mansion, actually, in Final Fantasy VI.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
One
been
time
forever.
is on fire, and the other time is falling down.
Oh, okay. So we have to get 3 keys, each of different colors, in order to open various doors, in order to get to where the kid is hidden. Because of course he's behind all 3 colored doors.
I hate that dungeon. I hate that dungeon so much.
I hate the boss, but the dungeon's alright, except for like the fire rats. So basically we're just collecting all the keys, and you need each previous key to get the last key. Apparently it was a trap in either Breath of Fire or Wild Arms. I haven't played either of those series, but I'd like to.
I played the first Breath of Fire, but I really don't remember it.
That's probably the only one I wouldn't want to play because it looks pretty dated.
It was very boring. It was like playing the first Dragon Warrior game.
Oh. I had a friend that played one on the PlayStation that looked really fun.
Breath of Fire, either 3 or 4. They're both very good, but they're very long.
I think it was 3. Was there like a long desert that you had to kind of as like kind of its own puzzle in 3?
I don't know.
No.
I've only watched the speedruns of 3 and 4.
I love the first Dragon Warrior game. That's my favorite.
I mean, it's very nice of what it did. It's just very simple. Literally just, you know,
Yeah,
you
I
grind
guess.
levels.
It's one that I turn my brain off when I play it. Also, hi, I'm still here. You guys are doing such a good job out me that commentary.
Alright, so now we're getting to this Fire Skull boss. It doesn't have like an official name or anything like that as far as I can tell. Basically, it starts out as like 3 little fire skulls and then it turns into one big one after you destroy them. Dragon Warrior 1 is a grind fest, and it's pretty interesting.
Come on. I'm gonna heal.
So I'm just going to do a strat where I kill off the 3 little fire skulls and then just do charged attacks against the large one.
I did not fall there, but okay, game. Crimson Underpass is like kicking my butt.
Dang.
That second time you have to like jump across pits and there's fireballs and stuff. I didn't get one of the fireballs hit me, so I didn't get running speed. Then I was like at half health with everybody, so I panic healed.
Dang. Also, this guy hurts a lot in the US version. Awesome, I got him stun locked right now. Oop.
Yeah, the timing to stun lock him is like pretty difficult, I think.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, is pretty difficult.
Okay, got him. And so Kari's going to do a little bit of a different strat that you'll see when she gets there, which is much easier to do and a lot less risky. But I would say they'd probably even out to about the same time in the end, just because you can do a lot more attacks to kill them in the strat I use, but you're not wasting time buying that potion.
I am trying to do this dungeon now. I hate this dungeon so much. Go
I
up the
believe in you.
stairs. I'm gonna be reading it out loud, like just to make sure I do it. South, east. Go north when you can. Go down the stairs. So I get lost very easily in this here.
Yeah, it's really easy to get lost in this
South,
place.
east, enter the room to get the blue key. Plus, there's all the things running around,
Seems as if
just doing
Alcyon
damage
has been
on you,
denied
and
success
they
once
follow
more.
you,
She not only departed without
and they
your
stun lock you
permission,
because, of
but
course,
lost to those 3
Yep.
in your name. It is nothing short of a
At
complete
least the little fire rats
disgrace,
blow
my
up eventually.
I take
yeah,
full
but it doesn't help when
responsibility
they're
for escape
running
and her
into you and you're
actions.
trapped
I
in the
am
corner,
Yeah.
prepared to die, master.
and they keep respawning.
Charming,
Like I already got
unnecessary
Hikaru knocked
for
out,
now,
so
Inoka.
Well,
Just
good thing you can
continue to
revive her
monitor
later.
her activities.
Although she's not really
yeah, but I have
useful.
to get there
Wish,
first.
my lord.
Yeah. Well, don't forget you always have healing too.
Back up the stairs, take the blue door. Oh, come on. That guy usually doesn't spawn. Take the stairs. Down, head to the... Please move!
Okay. So now the fire's been put out thanks to us, because it was a magical fire. It wasn't, any old regular fire.
What are you doing, Phil?
And now we're going to Lyrie, where there's a giant tree of life that is dead. Like, it is a truly massive tree, and it's dead because I think Emerald was the only thing keeping that tree alive, or something like that. The princess that we have to go rescue.
Nope, wrong door.
So now we're gonna go talk to Athena, who says that we have some patients who are sick and we need a leaf from the Tree of Life, but the Tree of Life is dead. But there may be one leaf left that they can use to make an elixir to cure everybody. And also there's a little girl here with no shoulders. And here we meet Abner, which according to Kari is exclusive to the game.
I'm pretty sure he is. He might not be. It's been forever since I've seen the anime.
That's fair. And he's gonna be a big show-off, and we're gonna race him. because he knows how to run, and we think we know how to run. And so Chicken Legs Umi is gonna show them how it's done.
Alright, I made it to the fountain. Ugh.
Nice. But Umi quickly realizes that she's not good enough to compete with the kids or Abner. So apparently we were part of a bet to go on a date with Abner if we lost, but you know we're not gonna follow through on that. Instead, we're gonna try to find our own way into the Tree of Life. So this is kind of like a weird point where we have to go to the entrance of the Tree of Life and then go all the way back to Abner and then go back to the Tree of Life again before we can actually enter it. And it's kind of weird like that. Okay, so we have to position ourselves to that ladder there, so we can build up speed to break this wall here.
I think I did that too soon. I did. Darn it. All right, so I didn't do it. I didn't do it well. The strategy for the fire boss, I messed it up. But
oh well, it happens. At least you have that potion.
I mean, what you're supposed to do is use your fire tornado twice. He hurts so much.
Yep.
You're supposed to use water tornado twice. And Umi is almost dead. And you're supposed to hit the big skull twice with it, and I hit it too early, so I only hit him once.
Yeah, and Umi is literally the strongest person for this fight. Ikaru's magic does no damage because it's fire against fire kind of thing. And food does like alright damage, but you want to really save her for healing if you're having a bit of trouble with the fight. And so now that I've talked to the entrance of the Tree of Life, we have to build up running speed again because every like the wall there respawns, and it's kind of awkward. So now we run all the way back to Abner, and then we'll finally learn how to get the instant dash, which lets us run by pressing the X button, and then like movement gets a whole lot better. What happened?
Umi died in the cutscene.
I love when that happens.
So I guess because the sprites for the fire are still on the ground after the boss, and Umi landed on one of them when you get teleported to the middle, and she died. And luckily her death animation overlapped with Alcyon's started appearing, so it didn't lose too much time. But
yeah.
It was just as funny as that one audio glitch you got the other day when in the first fight when Umi's death noise and then attack noise played for some reason.
Yeah, that was really weird. I've actually had a game over on that cutscene death there that you just did, where Umi was the last one alive and then died in the cutscene, and then it played out the cutscene, and after that it started the whole dungeon over.
Did you have to beat the dungeon again, or?
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't count.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Oh man, that's horrible. I need to be careful and never have that happen.
It only happened in a casual playthrough at least, but it was pretty bad.
But I'm really bad at that boss. I can never what do you call it? Stun lock him very well, so.
I'll teach you how to do it at RPG Limit Break.
Okay.
It's easy peasy. Like Umi's attack animation frames are really long, so it's fairly generous on being able to just chain the attacks.
Yeah, I'm probably just moving. I'm trying to play it safe on the boss, so I try to move back a little bit, and then it's or I charge too long or something. So I need to get the count correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please move out of the way, NPC.
So this is the last tutorial of the game. Teaches us how that we can run without having to do a little speed first. But it doesn't tell you what the dash button is. You have to go look in the manual or just mess with the buttons.
Especially if you change your buttons, because you can change the layout of the buttons and the options. There's 2 settings I think for it.
Yeah, I think you can only change A, B, and C though, right?
Oh, I have no clue. I never tried it.
Possible to do so.
Oh sure, now she's using my lines.
I never changed the option because the default is good enough to me.
Yeah, I never do it either. But I guess if you've been playing the game, then you would know that Z changes your magic, and Y is the fast map travel, and you already use A, B, and C for attacking and using magic and jumping.
Yeah.
So there's only one button left on the controller.
Yep. Which is the X button, and then also your L and R triggers switches between the characters.
And start pauses the game.
Yeah. So now we can finally move fast, and everything really picks up pace. Because now we can run around instead of having to walk around.
Plus the fact that, you know, you're just, there's just more, at this point of the game, about halfway through, you're just getting more dungeon than, plot, really.
Yeah, because this part of the game deviates from the actual story, so they don't really have any cutscenes to fill it with.
Yeah, the next cutscenes are in, Heaven's Labyrinth, I guess?
Yep.
Like anime ones?
That's where the next one is.
Is it?
Yeah, that's where the next anime cutscene is. There's like a couple of like 3D cutscenes.
There's a couple 3D cutscenes, like there's the turtle taking off.
Oh man, that one looks so bad.
Please move, NPC, thank you.
So now we're in probably the most confusing dungeon of the game.
I'll be talking, when I get there, I'll be talking out loud for the guide again. Because it's very, even with like my, because of course I use notes because I have a very bad memory. So even with my notes all spaced out to like line by line, it's still very difficult.
Yep. So I have to go all the way to the top of this side before I can continue the dungeon because I have to hit a vine that blocks the exit to the dungeon. Or that you have to open in order to exit the dungeon, and if you don't hit that, then you basically have to go all the way back here if you miss it. And it's kind of like a weird design choice, but at least we don't have to worry about that. And so Ascot is now posing as a kid named Alto. Whoops.
It's totally not Ascot.
Yeah, even though he looks and sounds just like him.
He has his hat off. It's not him.
Clearly.
That monkey always hits me.
Oh, I just do a charged attack against him.
But like, I mean, he always like drops down on my head.
Yeah, like now I just buffer a charge attack and hit him when he lands. That way I can just do a clean running dash. So we're gonna get a potion in this dungeon. It's partially safety, and also it allows us to do more magic attacks. Because basically we're gonna be coming up on a boss fight where the boss can one-shot you. And it's not fun. And it only one-shots you in the US version. In the Japanese version, the boss is quite the pushover.
I didn't know she could one-shot you.
Alcyone can if she runs in. Only if she runs into you.
Huh. I've never had that happen.
And then the butterfly can also one-shot you as well, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. So basically the boss is 3 separate enemies. I'll explain more when I get there. And you have to take out all 3 of them. And basically it's to mimic your own party. Whereas there's 1 healer, there's 1 heavy attacker, and there's 1 heavy magic user.
I'm learning how to run.
Yeah. Oh, too much mashing. So, Alcyone has captured Abner, and now we gotta save, Abner, and, our buddy Alto is gonna help us out.
With this purple magic.
Yep.
See, we have red, blue, and green magic, and, some places, you know, that's not strong enough, so you gotta use purple magic to get through it.
Yep.
And Alto has purple magic.
Alright, so now we're entering the fight against Alcyone and her 2 minions that she has picked up. And this is an unusual fight in that Alcyone's the only boss in the game where your physical attacks do more damage than magic. For whatever reason, she's very resistant to magic.
I mean, she is a mage.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, you know, the whole class thing, you know, a mage boss should be more resistant to magic.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is try to keep her from switching party members and take her out as quickly as possible because she's definitely the most dangerous. So basically we're just trying to time our attacks to keep her invincibility frames. There we go. And we want to kill her as quickly as possible before the butterfly has a chance to heal her.
The butterfly heals a lot.
Yeah. There we go. I got Alcyon real quickly. And so now we have this this scorpion lobster thing that kind of has weird invincibility frames. Basically, it only loses invincibility frames when it attacks. Oops. And for the butterfly, you want to damage it before it casts its healing spell, because the moment you hear the sound effect for it, it means that the healing has gone off. So basically, I'm trying to move in a way to force the crab, lobster, scorpion thing to attack. Also, taking damage makes it attack. Oh dang, the butterfly is the only one left alive. I've never done that before.
That sounds annoying.
Well, the butterfly can't do anything. It's great.
It just like heals itself, right?
It can't heal itself. That's the beauty of it.
Oh, so it just flies around.
Yep. Well, it casts the healing spell, but the butterfly can't heal itself.
Ha, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I've never done that before. Usually, I'm always killing the butterfly before I have a chance to kill the other dude. But I was able to keep it on the scorpion a lot longer. So now we finally get the very last leaf on the Tree of Life. And now it gets to be used to turn into an elixir to save everybody, because apparently it has extremely powerful healing properties. And it can even cure amnesia. Hint, hint, that's a spoiler.
Totally not important later.
Yeah. And Alcyon keeps getting thwarted at every
What's the meaning
corner.
of this, Caldina?
And now Ascot is turned against Zagot.
Well, in order to figure out the girls' weaknesses, I'm, spying on them.
Do you expect us to believe that pathetic lie?
Lie? Why, Innova,
Oh no, I've been
I'm
timed
shocked
out.
and hurt that you would even think such a dreadful thing.
Where is that?
Don't trouble yourself, Innova.
No, wait.
If
Go
she
here.
is shading
Drop
the
down the
truth,
hole.
I
Okay.
shall soon know it.
Then you hit the thing.
As
Then
you
you go back
desire,
upstairs.
my
Jump over the hole. Okay. I got this. I got this. I totally know what I'm doing.
Ascot, are you trying to get us killed?
The big thing with getting the run option is remembering to use it.
Yep.
Is that
For me, it's come down to muscle memory from just doing it so much.
Who's there?
Like, I sometimes even doing it when I do it when I don't even have access to it yet. It's like, wait, why am I running?
I'm not so certain.
Come on, go inside.
If I didn't know better, I'd say Ascot looked like he was enjoying himself.
Alcyon! Don't be ridiculous. Ascot's not a traitor. He'd never do such a thing.
Fall down the hole.
And besides,
Fall
what
down
about
to the
you?
left.
You've got some nerve
Down.
showing your sorry face
Up.
around here.
I always forget about that hermit crab
If
there.
I just happened to tell Zagat about your little visit, it's the end of your party for sure.
Perhaps, but I don't think now is the best
I
time
can't
for
aim,
you
apparently.
to go running to Zagat either.
So, as Kari's going through this dungeon, there's these little hermit crabs that only food
Why are you
can
treating
reliably
me as an
damage.
adversary? Can't you see we're in this together, friend?
And they hurt quite a bit in the US release, just like everything else.
make me
Like in the
sick.
Japanese version, most
Don't insult
enemies
my
only do like 1 or 2
intelligence,
points of
you
damage.
scheming hag.
But in the US version, they do 4 or more sometimes.
Now, Caldina. No need to rip a scene. You
And then
see,
up here, in my cutscene, there's going to be a little bit of Japanese, because they forgot to either
really?
edit or I
I'm
don't have no
all ears.
idea.
if we head off the magic
hermit
knight
crab dodged my
wannabes at their
magic.
next stop,
Also,
like-
I missed an enemy.
Alcyon whispers to Caldina, and it's in Japanese.
Got it!
My enemy enemies were spread out like really bad to get that health potion.
Dang.
Like the hermit crab dodged it, and then
Yeah, you can't hurt the hermit crab with magic.
okay, I thought it had to happen before. Maybe I like stunned him or something, and then he got.
Yeah, and the hermit crab blocks the magic.
See, hermit crabs are just horrible.
Yeah.
They do too much damage.
But now I have an extra potion that I don't know what to do with it. Oh, I guess I don't have to get the potion in the next dungeon. But I don't remember which one is which in the chests. So now we're letting Abner have the credit for getting the leaf, so that he can woo Athena. And each time you see one of those like little upgrade animations, it's supposed to make the character a little bit stronger. And it shows in like character portraits as well as their armor changes, but you don't see it on their actual sprites.
Alright, that wasn't too bad for the dungeon.
Alright, now our buddy Lack Attack 24 makes an appearance, and we go to the Lack Attack Falls.
Remember to heal. Oop, and then go up.
And there's like a couple of things here, like a rainbow amulet and like a health and mana upgrade, I think. But we're mainly just coming here to cross the bridge and fall to our doom.
Huh, I didn't remember there's a health and there's upgrades in like the building or something?
I know there's at least one upgrade, but I don't remember if there's two. But there's a rainbow amulet like all the way at the bottom hidden inside a pot.
Ow, come on, Umi.
Oh yeah, and then there's also one hidden inside like a water pool. So yeah, there's two rainbow amulets here.
Ah, the super butterfly healed because Umi got run into and I got stunned.
Dang. So now we're in the water cave. And I really don't like this dungeon. It's basically puzzle after puzzle. It's probably the only dungeon that's faster in the US version because they increased the speed of these skeleton dragons, and they're moved extremely slow in the Japanese version, and you need them to hit some switches.
I killed Alcyon first.
Nice. That's like the ideal thing to do because Alcyon's like kind of annoying. So basically now we're just doing a bunch of little block pushing puzzles. And there's a lot of them in this dungeon.
Oh, Umi died. That's what the health potion's for.
Yep. So basically I'm just doing puzzle after puzzle that I've memorized. There's like one over to the left of the area I'm in that's a little bit more difficult, and by doing it you get a rainbow amulet. But rainbow amulets are slow.
I am not having luck with the butterfly.
No, that's rough.
Keeps healing.
Well, I mean, at least the butterfly dies as long as you're hitting it.
Yeah, but I'm not hitting it is the problem.
Oh. I just use magic on it.
I do, but either I wasted some magic by hitting it with my charge attack by accident first and then pressing magic.
Oh. Well, at least the charge attack does similar damage.
I was expecting it to switch, basically.
Yeah.
Or it hits me, like just now, again. It hit me when moving, and, killed Umi again. I have to be really careful now, because, I don't want to get this, I don't want the scorpion to kill me.
Yeah, at least you have a lot of heals with, Fu. Oh, right. I always forget about that room.
But I have no clue how much health the scorpion has, because I kept getting healed, so.
Come on. Getting some bad RNG. Like one of that mantis thingy is just not following me.
Stop hitting me!
So basically I just have to get enemies onto these pressure switches to open doors, and that's like the last one if I recall. Oh, right. So now we're gonna get Umi's third spell, which is exactly the same as her second spell, but the only difference is it can kill certain enemies like these large ones. And mainly the skeleton dragons, because those are invulnerable except to Umi's third spell. But functionally it does the same exact damage as the other one, and it has the same range. I think it even has like the same casting animation time.
Pretty much. I think, is it a little bit laggier maybe, just because there's more stuff doing on the screen maybe? I have no idea. I just follow what you wrote down for using what spells at what time, so I have no clue.
Well, both of them are fairly laggy.
I was doing so well on that boss, and then just like the crab kept running into me, and the butterfly kept healing as usual. I'm still saving time on my splits. So.
That's awesome. So, like, the puzzle for this room is to kill those two enemies with your ice magic. And this room, we have to kill all these crab things. Luckily, Fu's pretty strong against crabs. Awesome. So that's the chest I wanted. So I'm taking like a very specific passes. There's invisible walls. So now we got some appearing platforms here.
The worst room.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
The platforms are very picky.
I made it through without too much trouble.
Because you're like the best at this game.
Well, when there's only two people.
Yeah, exactly. When there's even when there's only two fast in this one. This cutscene between Alcyone and Caldina is that other mentioned. It's so long and it's voiced.
Yep. Alright, so in that room I was just in, it's a dark room, but there's a lot of little invisible gnat enemies, and you have to kill them all, so it's easier just to, like, spam Fu's magic. It took a little bit longer than normal, sadly. Normally it only takes about 2 casts, but they were in a bad position. And so now Ascot is betraying Caldina by helping us take down Zegat, because Ascot has realized the error of his ways, and he wants to do good. But now we don't trust him because he's revealed who he really is and terrible things he's done. And now Alcyon's come in to pit the brother and sister against each other. And then Ascot comes in, tries to save us from Caldina's attack, and gets himself killed. And now Caldina blames us for it and is going to try to kill us.
Yep, top 10 anime game betrayals.
It gets even more betrayal-y after this. So we're just going to Zerg her down with magic. We got a lot of magic potions, so we're just going to Zerg her down. And after a certain amount of damage, she does a dance and changes the room. And so now we're in a room with coals that we can't step on.
You have to be careful not to hit her during, use your magic during the dance or when she's cooling down from it, because those are her iframes.
Yep.
So when you're leaving the Tree of Life town, you want to go to the right side, where Alto's basically standing. If you go to the left, you'll end up in the Rainbow Junction shop, and you'll have to, like, you know, wait for the loading screen and your little transfer on the world map, and then another loading screen. Then you gotta leave, wait for another loading screen, little transfer, another loading screen.
Yeah, it wastes a lot of time. I've done that before on a run. So, I didn't actually need to get that potion. Sweet.
Yeah, I think it was actually my practice run against the Alcyone and the bugs that I didn't use a health potion, and I was like, wait, I opened a chest, I'm like, wait a minute, I have a health potion already?
So there, in that cutscene that we just skipped, Caldina gets killed by Nova, who's another of Zagat's minions. Because she's deemed no longer fit to serve Zagat. So everybody that we're trying to save is dying. We're killing more people than we're helping.
I'm mashing buttons so hard that I jumped slightly before I fell down off the bridge.
Nice.
Bravo, Nova.
Told you I mash buttons really fast.
Now
No
let's see
kidding.
what you're capable of, shall we?
Yes, my master.
Yes, my lord.
No, it's my lord.
Consider it done.
Nope, why am I pressing A? Oh, because I was swimming and I didn't realize I was not swimming. I'm gonna move by mashing A.
Alright, now we go to the lake village of Lequita, where there's a giant island that's been ravaging the town. As strange as that sounds. But it turns out it's actually a lake monster. It's not really a monster, or even part of the lake, just kind of stuck there. I don't know, it's weird. But basically, we have to go save the town from this lake monster that's been causing havoc and destruction, and broke some woman's arm indirectly by just by walking around and causing tremors, which caused a bookcase to fall on this woman. And her son is pretty pissed off about that. So we got to try to talk some sense into him, and the father's like, hey, thanks for talking sense into him. You can stay the night here for free at my inn. Because I guess they don't believe in charging people to stay at an inn.
This game really doesn't. I mean, also, you don't really need inns because you restore all your health in those fountains, so why do people need inns?
To take a nap.
But you're still hungry.
Yep. Wait a minute, is that a Chrono Trigger reference?
Yes.
I can actually pick up on that now. So now the giant beast is walking around and woke us up from our beauty sleep. So now we gotta go deal with him.
I get these rooms in this puzzle dungeon mixed up. So, like, I'm like, oh, this is a room where I need Umi. Oh, no, I need Fu here.
Alright, so now this is very laggy. It's hard to tell, but you can tell when the text is moving that it's very laggy here. So now this is basically like a two-part forest dungeon. And we're basically, you have to go to each side and collect these little pendants or amulets of some sort. One's called Twilight, and I forget what the other one's called. A medallion, Twilight medallion, and I forget what the other one's called. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take damage on our way there, because we want to die at the end of each one to respawn it back at the beginning of the dungeon. Because it's a lot faster than making our way all the way back. And luckily, enemies really hurt here. And this is only in the US version that they hurt this much. In the Japanese version, it's a lot harder to do this trick. Or maybe not trick, but strat. There we go. Okay, I'm a little bit lower than I'd like. So I'm gonna kill that, even though I normally don't. Because I have to do a damage boost. There's like a little gnat tree here that you can damage boost your way through that you're normally supposed to kill. Dang. Okay, that's fine. Ah! Okay, not fine.
This is not fine.
Okay, so I'm gonna heal Fu, even though that's gonna waste some time, because I don't want to die before I get the medallion. And mash to swim, because that's always a good idea. Let's see, take some damage from this butterfly here. One more. Awesome. Perfect. Down to 1 health so we can die right after we get the medallion.
Darn it, I went the wrong way.
Sunrise
I'm
and
like, oh,
twilight.
Mantis is standing there. Mantis is standing there, I have to go that way. No, he was moved.
No, you can just
I'm really
mash
bad
it down with, you can mash down the mantis with, Umi.
Yeah, which I did. It's just annoying, so I went the wrong direction.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so now we took our first of 2 intentional deaths in this game. And dying is very safe. If you die, you just go back to the start of the dungeon. Nothing, you don't lose anything. You don't get any sort of penalty other than lost time if you die in an unfortunate position. So that side's the easy side. The next side is much more difficult. There's a lot more enemies that do a lot of damage to you. And we're also going to grab 2 chests which contain a health potion and a mana potion. Health potion refills your health, mana, and revives any dead party members. Whereas the mana just refills your mana. So like the health potions are crazy powerful. But we'll never actually use it for more than restoring our mana in a run. On average. Occasionally you might need it for actually restoring health on one fight. So this this second half here is actually a lot more difficult to navigate because there's a lot of like false paths, and getting around can be kind of tricky because like there's also you have to swim around the water a bit, and it pushes you down the waterfall, so you'd have to start over if you fall.
Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Now. There we go. Oh, I can just. Come on. Please jump. Please jump. Thank you, Fu.
Okay, walk through the...
Glad I healed there.
Yeah, healing can be a boon. So now we're swimming against the current just to get around. There we go. So normally they expect you to light this tree on fire, then put it out in order to pass it, but we can just damage boost right through it. Alright, now we have both medallions, and my damaging wasn't as optimal as I'd like. Now, just waiting. There we go. And now we respawn with full health and mana, ready to fight the boss. Which is going to be a giant turtle, the size of a small island. And he's nice enough to reveal his weak point to us. So basically all the damage this giant turtle was causing was basically him trying to get the growth off his back, which was like all these trees and shrubs. And we're going to help him out and then take him on. Because we're nice like that. We help people out and then kill them. So at this point, Fu has quite fallen off on damage in the game, so we're only really using Hikaru and Umi. Because Fu is our resident healer and support character. So basically, we're just going to use our magic and then finish it off with melee attacks. Okay, there we go. Although this is probably the only boss that we don't really kill because it's actually a helpful dude. And here Makona makes his appearance for the second time in the game in a very long time. Because we haven't seen him since the Forest of Silence near the beginning of the game. And he can communicate with the giant turtle. And it turns out that he's not so bad. And he's actually going to help us to our next destination.
Question. Do you use both your potions on Caldina when you fight her the second time?
Yeah, but I'm noticing with the extra mana on Umi that it might not be necessary to use a second potion.
Yeah, because I guess I pick up 1 or 2 extra and like magic on Umi so that I only need to use the 1 potion.
Yeah, I was noticing that. I used, like, right after I used the second potion, I was like, wait a minute, I didn't need that.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be faster to like just hit her instead and not even just like hitting her physically and not wasting that last potion.
Yeah, it would have been the same just to hit her, but then, I mean, even then, you probably wouldn't have had that grab that potion in the first place since you couldn't get them in the next area.
Right. It's worth testing.
Yeah, well, I just noticed that in that fight that I didn't need it. That I didn't need the second potion, so it's not really... Now that we get extra mana on Umi, I guess it's not worthwhile. Alright, now we're in the Sky Garden of Aria. Or something like that. Auroria, I don't know. They don't exactly tell you the pronunciation. And now we're gonna go talk to the mayor of the town because we want to go to the Heaven's Labyrinth and see the statue where our next giant robot is. Now, if you forgot about the giant robots, it's been a long time since they were mentioned. And the mayor, being a nice guy, he just kicks us out and says, "Screw you, I'm not letting you in." Because it turns out that he's not letting anybody in to see and pray and worship the statue. And so
I'm gonna be super rusty at this run because this is where my last practice got to, was to this town, so
I believe in you.
I'm super rusty.
So now we're gonna go stay at the inn because we need some time to think, and let the mayor think as well. So we're gonna go do that. And we're the first customers this inn has had in a very long time because basically they've cut off all communication with the lower world because we're up in the sky.
Because the turtle could fly or something.
Yeah. So now we're going to go talk to the mayor again and see if they'll help us out. And it turns out that the key was stolen and we're immediately blamed for it even though we were literally asking him about it. Or just because we were asking him about it. And now we're going to be thrown into the dungeon.
Nope, I went the wrong way in the end. I'm stupid. Nope, I'm going the wrong way. The stairs are right here.
So now we're in the dungeon where there's conveniently 3 beds. Although they look very uncomfortable, like they're just wooden planks.
I mean, it is a prison.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Yeah. Although it's a prison where Fu knows how to pick locks.
It's a cheap prison. What do you expect?
And now we're going to be playing a little bit of Metal Gear Solid stealth action. So basically we have to take our way to the study and avoid detection by the guards, which all look the same. They must all be like cousins or brothers or something.
How's the run going? I mean, Shentok is winning off. It's like an entire dungeon ahead, so...
Metal Gear. Magic Knight. So basically we just want to avoid the patrol. And they give you a decent chunk of leeway in avoiding the guards. But there's actually a couple that can troll you if you're unprepared. And if you get caught at all, you get sent all the way back to the dungeon room and get an extra cutscene. Which is quite annoying.
Heck.
And also can be a little spooky. And luckily, luckily guards only pay attention to the character you're controlling. So they see all these other girls running around, they don't care. So now we gotta wait for this guard to make us patrol before we can move to another location. Because conveniently, there's like a way around, but there's another guard positioned just in a way that you can't do that. Oh, it makes it, like, if you get caught, it makes a sound effect like there should be an exclamation point, but there's no exclamation point to accommodate it, or accompany it. So, we're actually Fu for a specific reason, because in order to find out how the perpetrator got in and stole the key, we have to be as Fu to discover it, because she's the only one with the perception to notice. And also, when you pick the lock, Fu is closer to the door and, saving the frames, all that jazz. So now we're covered in soot, but we found out how the perpetrator got in. And we find Ferrio's flute. So now we're going to go confront him and see what's up. But it turns out he's seeing some hooded woman who suspiciously looks like Alcyone. And Ferrio's also covered in soot. So now we're going to go down to where the inn is, but we're going to go talk to Rafarga, who's conveniently here and in his battle armor, wanting to help us out. He just gives us an idea of like, hey, why don't you go wait by the gate and wait for the perpetrator to show up. So now we get a little bit of a break here, and we do some people watching. She's wearing glasses. How's your adventure in the forest dungeon going?
I just finished the one side and I'm trying to get knocked.
Nice.
Sorry, I got muted because the dog had to go out.
Oh. Yeah. I was wondering why it was so quiet.
Sorry.
Hey, no worries.
I muted. I was like fumbling for my mute thing as I'm trying to get through this dungeon. I'm taking damage and I'm like, I don't want to die yet. But I just finished the right side, so.
Nice. So we see our boy Ferio has the key, and it turns out he actually is the thief. And okay, so now we're coming up to the only major skip in the game. It was found by a fella on YouTube who watched my runs and is like, hey, I want to break this game. And this was the only one he really found that turned out to be useful for the run so far. There might be more. He said he wanted to work on a task, but we'll see how that comes along. So basically, normally you're supposed to get a spell here for Fu to complete the dungeon, and it's basically a hover spell. But if you jump into this loading screen just right, it remaps the area. Let's see, did I get it? And you can tell, well, you'll be able to tell when it happens. There we go. So basically, we react into a new area, and we have the collision of a different area, but the visuals of the area that's normally there. And so because of that, we're now at the end of the dungeon. We basically skipped all the puzzles, collecting the spell, waiting for a bunch of moving platforms. This is a very moving platform-heavy area that you have to wait on cycles for. Because there's no 0 or first cycle, it's just basically a bunch of waiting. But we just skipped the entire dungeon.
Around the tree.
And honestly, this is the only part of the game where Protective Wind has any use. You can actually technically use it casually to collect some extra health, mana upgrades, and extra rainbow amulets.
Into the water. Go
Okay,
right.
so now we're here. We're confronting Fario and the mysterious woman who looks suspiciously like Alcyone. And Farga makes his appearance as well. And it turns out he's under mind control by Zegat. And he fights it, and tragic things happen by fighting mind control. And he walks off the edge of this floating island, plummeting down to Earth, and also revealing Alcyone, who's not willing to fight us directly this time. This time she's using a giant bird to do her bidding. And this is the last fight in the game where Fu's magic does the same damage as everyone else's. My guess is that this boss has a wind weakness, considering this dungeon is basically to showcase Umi Fu. And so, like with most other bosses, we just zerg it down with magic. And this boss is definitely more cool with that.
Alright, we're through the left side.
Nice.
I always get lost at like just one point where it's like you need to go in the water and then go cave, and it's just like, nope.
So at some point during the boss, Alcyone comes in and makes the boss all glowy. It doesn't seem to do anything other than change its appearance, because it doesn't do any extra damage, doesn't have any new abilities. It just starts glowing.
It makes it harder to see, because he kind of gets invisible.
I guess,
so it's a little bit
yeah.
hard to see where he's going.
It makes it more flickery, but when you're using magic, it doesn't really matter. So now our boy Fario is no longer under mind control, and he's our boy again. And we finally found our second giant robot, and his name is Wyndham. I think Umi's name is like Celeste or something like that.
Yeah, Wyndham is Fu's, and Saris.
Saris, that's it.
Is Umi's.
Yeah. So if you remember, like an hour and a half ago, we got our first robot, and now we get our second robot. And soon we're going to get our third robot in like the next 10 minutes.
Curse the fortitude of Rafarga. His will was much stronger than we had anticipated.
And now we're talking about the aftermath of Zegat's plan.
Dear Lord.
Equip your armor and go, Inova. I pray you do not.
And now the right-hand man, Inova, is gonna
I shall do exactly
finally
as you
take care of
desire,
things.
my liege.
Because you always gotta save your best for last. Although I feel like all of this could have been avoided if he sent out Nova in the first place to take us out when we were still weak little fledglings, new to our magic.
Yeah, but then there wouldn't be a plot.
Yeah, but then Zegat would have won, and the world would have been his. And so now, conveniently, there's a elevator here that takes us where we want to go. And it takes us to some old guy's house in the woods. Dang, Nori's outing me.
Poo-poo. Much poo-poo.
Alright, so now we're at some old guy's house in the woods. We find our boy Rafarga, but he's lost his memory. And somehow we survived the thousands of feet of fall. And so now we talk to the old guy. He tells us about the Tree of Life, how it has curing properties, and he's like, well, we were already there. Let's go back and see if they'll give us some of the elixir they made to cure our boy. Oop, went the wrong way. And thankfully, we do have the fast travel, so we don't have to go from loading screen to loading screen. We can just get to where we want to go. Now, there's only one area in the game that we never go to in the speedrun, and that's the Rainbow Junction Shop, as Kari mentioned earlier, because we don't get any rainbow amulets to go there. The items there are mostly cosmetic for fun. The only really useful item is the items that lets you escape dungeons, and also one that restores your mana by standing still, but they're very slow to have.
Yeah, the original, like when I originally routed this game, I said, oh, well, you should get those because they're useful. But,
turns out it wastes a lot of time to get them.
Yeah, getting the rainbow amulets takes a lot of time because of the, little text box that you get when you open the chest every time, and then having to do the loading screen to
exchange
actually
items.
Go there, and you need, like, 7, I think, of each kind or something?
5 or 6. But you don't get enough until way late in the game.
Yeah, you get the escape gem like at the same time you're doing the lake dungeon, I want to say, and so you can, which is like the only dungeon you need to backtrack in, really.
Yep.
And then the magic gem, the magic one, restoring one, all that does is when you're standing still, it slowly restores your magic.
Very slowly.
But you don't want to be standing still.
Yeah.
Go south across the bridge and west to the end. I know where I'm going.
And it's just like, well, dying is pretty safe, so you can just die instead of giving the escape gem.
Because you're going to be backtracking anyway, so...
Yep. And that cut out a massive chunk of time.
I mean, you know, you beat my speedrun time just from, I guess, execution, even though you took a break partway through. The first time you casually ran the game.
Yeah.
Maybe your Saturn loads faster or something. I don't know.
I don't know. If it loaded faster, I'd have the world record in nights, and I do not.
The fastest loading Saturn ever. I need to do that. I need to put like a, double up the videos and see where I lose all my time.
Alright, so now our boy Rafarga is beyond hope from mind control, and we gotta take him out.
I'm just about to enter the stealth section and hopefully not mess it up.
I believe in you, Kari.
I always mess it up, though.
Whoa. For whatever reason, my magic on Lumia changed. Oh, beat the spell. And for whatever reason, Rafarga changes color when he's almost dead.
Because every boss does. They turn red. It's like a thing.
Oops,
when you're evil and you're angry and you're low HP, red.
I killed Umi.
Alright, let's not mess the stealth section up.
Okay, well he's dead anyways. So our boy Rafarga is dead. Not by our hands. He tells us to kill him, but we don't wanna. We hesitate. So Nova comes in and does the job for us, because he's a nice guy like that. Does the dirty work that we can't do ourselves, despite all the people we've been killing. All the killing we do, and we can't even kill our own friends. So we make a nice burial for him, and a volcano suddenly erupts as we bury him. And that's where our final machine is. So we're gonna go there and take care of that, because now the story is just like speeding along at the speed of sound. And so what's really nice about this game is after every boss fight, you get your health and mana back, because technically, I guess, you're getting upgraded.
This last one. The last guard is the hardest one, I think.
If you hug, like, after you go into that little alcove and you hug the bottom wall when you're running by, he won't see you, because he'll be off the screen and not loaded.
Yeah, for some reason, I always messed it up. I don't know why. It's what I usually end up forget about just going in the middle part, and there we go. I did the first try. Okay.
Nice.
I usually forget about just going straight to the middle alcove, and I go up and around.
Oh, I never done that. That sounds really scary.
Yeah, you go up and around, and then you have to like wait for that other guy to you actually have to dodge him instead of just ignoring him. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate the stealth section just because I don't know, the sight boxes of those guards are really weird. So sometimes they'll see you when you think you're hidden and you're just like maybe a pixel into their sight box.
Yeah. Alright, so now I'm getting the last spell in the game, named after Ikaru's dog Flash. It is truly the most powerful spell in the game. It can 3-shot any boss, but it costs 10 mana to use, which is everything we have. And that's why we have the potions, and so we can make more use of that, so we can get 2 crits in instead of 1, and just like completely decimating boss's HP. So normally in this section, if you're to play casually, you could use ooh, dang, that's bad. Fu's Protective Wind hover over the lava, but because we skipped that spell, we don't get to use it. And technically you're not supposed to be able to skip it, but with the nice little glitch, or the nice little wrong warp, I guess would be the best way to put it, but we can just completely skip getting that spell.
It makes the final dungeon a lot more sane for casual, and really, I like it just because since your controls are slippery and it's lava and you get bounced around all over the place and it gets laggy when any of those fire snakes are on the screen. It's really helpful, but the time between like skipping it and the time between skipping the whole dungeon versus getting that and using it for the final dungeon, it just evens out that skipping it is a little faster.
Yeah. So we used to route Fu's mana upgrades in a way that we could use it twice in this dungeon. But now we just give those mana to Umi so that she can use more magic.
Alright, I'm gonna try the skip now.
Nice. No, I fell.
Alright, so gotta land my jump outside of the screen.
Yep. As close as you can to outside the screen, that's how I've noticed it. Sometimes it can be a little finicky, like you'll see at times where it looks like it should work, but it doesn't. No! Dang, that fire worm really wrecked me. I'm just gonna kill that. So basically, unless you're on a solid platform, and if you fall in the lava, you'll go back to the last solid platform instead of the ones that are moving, because it makes sense to do that, because you wouldn't want to be perpetually stuck in lava. Although I lost a lot of time in that room because of that.
Come on, glitch, please work. There we go. Okay.
Nice. That wasn't so bad. Like, even, like, no matter how much time you take, it's always going to save time, because the dungeon's, like, 7-8 minutes long.
Yeah. It's just, I think I kind of get the feel of it. You don't want to be in the middle of your... You want to be, like, just starting to land your jump, but still in the air, sort of, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah. So now we find Alcyone. She's bleeding to death, and basically she's in love with Zagat, and Zagat is in love with the princess that he currently has captured. And so Alcyone, instead of letting us help her, she decides that she wants to die instead.
Do you want to use Umi's second or third level magic on the giant bird?
They both do the same damage.
Okay. I was just curious if I had the second one turned on. I'm like, I think that's right. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been in this dungeon, so...
Yeah.
Anime cutscenes.
Dang, I lost Umi. Alcyone was trolling me pretty hard.
She usually goes down pretty easy for me, but...
Well, I was like, just in bad positioning, and she kept going off screen.
She, like, came on top of you or something.
Yeah.
Alright, giant board. I'm so bad at dodging it when it does the gust of wind.
Yeah. So this is the only fight in the game where you don't get your health back after defeating the boss. And now we get our final machine, the giant, I don't know, fire dog thing, Rayearth, which is in the title of the game. Don't completely understand why.
Because Hikaru's the main character, that's why.
Yeah, but why is it called Magic Knight Rayearth? It sounds like that Rayearth is a magic knight. When Hikaru is the magic knight.
Bird, power up now!
So even though Clef is turned to stone, he can still communicate with us through Makona. But now we finally have all our 3 machines, and we can make our assault on Zagat's palace, which is currently shrouded in a magic veil.
Master Zagat, I implore you.
Yay, gold
return
split.
me to my original
Nice.
form.
I just had to not mess up.
Can no longer be
At this rate, I'm actually gonna get a sub 3, so...
Nice, we need to get Chubbas to do a Legend of Illusion run.
But to accomplish that, I must
It's a shame I couldn't stay more even with you to actually, like, get a huge chunk of time left, but...
I'm pretty sure Chubbas is asleep, actually. I think he took a nap.
Wow, rude.
Rude.
Let's make Chubbas do a sleepy Magic of Illusion run.
Yeah. I was promised Legend of Illusion today. And now, since this is a dungeon, we have to exit it before we can fast travel to Precia's house.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the very, like, first screen of that area is still considered dungeon.
Yep. Which means more loading screens. Because everybody loves those.
I forgot my phone goes on automatic do not disturb mode, which is like where my roommate was like, hello! It goes on do not disturb at 10, and I was like, oh, it's after 10, isn't it?
That's always a good plan, that way it doesn't wake you up in the middle of the night. And conveniently, Precia has a fountain in her house. And now that we've got everything, Precia is going to help us get to where we need to go, which is back where we started at the very beginning of the game. When we first landed in Sephiroth, which is called the Cape of Legend for some reason.
Yeah, because where the legend of the Magic Knights is born.
That's true, but it seems way too convenient. Because, I mean, we just fell out of the sky.
Yeah, right onto the Cape of Legend, where the legends of the Magic Knights are. We are the Magic Knights, therefore.
Was it named after we came there, or before?
Before, because it was said in the prophecy, like, at this specific cape. This is where they will spawn.
Okay. Kari with the lore drop.
That's totally how it goes.
Alright, so before we can summon our giant robots, we have to deal with a Nova, who turns out isn't what he seems. And it turns out he's a giant wolf that was originally a protector of Princess Emerald's castle, and given human form and intelligence by Zegat. And, yeah. So now we're just gonna get rid of him because he's in our way. Just like we get rid of everyone else. And we get our boy Fario in here to help us out. He lobs off the guy's horn so that we can damage him. And this boss has a really simple AI. Basically, he always wants to be above you. So all we do is just run to the top and we can keep him up there. But the only downside, this boss has long invincibility frames. He was in over his head.
That's a good one, actually. I haven't heard that one. Lake Village, Sky Garden, Whispering.
So we're gonna use one of the potions we have to refill our mana just to take down this guy. But like I said, Hikaru's flash magic is crazy powerful.
Did I just leave by accident? I did somehow.
Would you leave?
The Whispering Woods. Somehow I went to the Rainbow Junction by accident.
Oh, well, yeah.
I left north by accident. I was trying to run left, and it's like, no, I'm gonna take you north.
So now we have to talk to Fario because he's in our way, and now we talk to Cliff, and basically this is like our point of no return in the game. By saying yes here, we summon the robots and go to Zegat's castle where we can no longer leave the game, to do other things. And we get our boy giant robot Rayearth. And in true anime fashion, we each summon our robots and do a coordinated attack to destroy the palace's barrier and make a landing.
Man, I can't believe I went through that loading screen. So now everybody knows what it's like. What I mean when I say you go the wrong way and you have to wait through a loading screen, and then the map, and then a loading screen, and then go back and repeat everything.
Yeah.
Just demonstrating for the chat. So in the forest, before, like, when you're going through to fight Rafarga, like, afterwards, you can, like, there's, like, little secret paths in between the trees, and I think there's, like, a magic upgrade in one of them. It's very hard to get, because the paths are, like, not well-defined.
Alright, so now I'm fighting Zegat. Basically, he's invincible whenever he has a glow around him, and so we just have to time our attacks between that. Luckily, it's pretty easy to time our way. And this boss has a lot of health, so luckily Hikaru's attack deals a lot of damage. And this boss also hurts a lot too in the English version. So now we've taken him down, but he's not dead yet. A final boss can never have just one form. So he has his own giant robot too, and now we're changing gameplay styles from a top-down Zelda-esque adventure game to a shmup. And the shmup section is kind of weird here. Basically, each character has their own form of attack, doing various damage. In a weird twist of fate, Umi now deals the least damage, with magic still doing the most damage by far, but your magic use is very limited. So we're just like wasting our magic to take out his shield and him. And in the US version, he hits a lot harder as well. And so we want to use Hikaru as much as possible because she does the most damage.
She gets, main character powers there.
Yeah. Oh man, he's just summoning bees like crazy.
Are you getting all the bees?
Yep. So now we've taken out his shield, now he mainly favors this annoying swipe, and we have to wait him for him to do the attack before we can attack him. Haha. Luckily Hikaru hasn't died yet. So that means this is actually a pretty decent fight.
Almost didn't skip that cutscene.
And sometimes he'll do that swipe attack twice, and that swipe attack takes a lot of health. I will say I like this track a lot in the game.
Alright, just walking over to the lair of truth.
Ooh, she's dead.
Don't like this dungeon just because of the,
So yeah, Hikaru does the most damage by far with Fu doing the second most damage. And Umi, despite being the strongest in the rest of the game, is now the weakest. But now we finally take down the evil Zegat. But it's not over yet. We now have to go free the princess. But Zegat has been defeated and now he is dead. But there's a bit of a caveat now. We're not actually gonna save the princess. She's pretty pissed off that we killed her lover. Because it turns out she was in love with Zegat, and now she's pretty pissed off about it. Now, instead of being the savior of the Sephiroth, we have to go kill her. Because the princess that we have to save is the true villain.
Because...
Because basically she can't control her magic anymore because she's too distraught with despair over losing Zegat.
I could...
And in true anime fashion, we can't kill Emerald as our own 3 robots. We have to fuse them into one super robot to take on the Princess Emerald's mighty robot. And that's where Makona comes in. He helps us facilitate the fusion of robots.
Oh, come on, I jumped. Now the falling rocks are hitting me.
Dang.
So a cool thing that you might not know in this dungeon here, in the Layer of Truth, you can use Umi's water magic to cool off the fountain that's there to heal if you're running low. Oh, you want to go south? Out.
So you get this weird spell that you can only use once because they don't give you enough mana to use it twice, and it does a small chunk of damage. But I'm mainly using it for the invincibility frames because when you take damage, you're stunned and you can't damage the boss, of course. But the weird thing is, like, you can even give yourself infinite mana and you can't kill this boss. The magic is just impossible to kill this boss with.
Sorry, I paused there. I was like, I don't know how. I forget if I need to go up to the teleporter because I got lost in the guide.
Okay, so I do not want to die to this boss.
The final boss?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you don't want to die to the final boss.
Like, the boss has a set pattern, pretty easy to avoid if you're paying attention, which I was not. And now that we've destroyed all her parts, all that's left is her head. It's basically set in a way that even if you only attack her head, you still have to destroy the other parts. And time is coming up for me very shortly.
Don't use flash too early. That's bad.
Time.
Alright. GG Shentok.
Thanks. Dang, that was pretty close to
Yeah,
my world record.
I was looking, I was like, oh my god, is he gonna get world record?
I mean, I have a lot of time to save just from execution, but I'm a little bit rusty.
2:37:34, and his world record is 2:36:56. He was only like 35 seconds off.
If I didn't mess up on the second Alcyon, or the third Alcyon fight, I probably would have had it.
Like, that is absolutely incredible. Very impressive.
Thank you.
Stop hitting Halcyon.
And now Emerald's dead, but not really.
Your mind and spirit is the most powerful magic of all. But Emerald! Wow!
But now that we've freed Emerald and killed her, we can be sent back home with our memories intact.
How many times did you play this to practice it? I'm kind of curious.
Oh wait, you're supposed to use your potion.
Like before
here.
this marathon?
Yeah.
Twice.
Okay.
It's not like I said, it's not a difficult game.
No, you're not supposed to use your potion here. Oh well. I messed up. So.
But I don't run this as much as I used to because it's rough on my hand. Like the mashing.
It's long, and also you have to wait 25 minutes at the beginning.
Yeah, well, it's like the first 20 minutes is just mashing through text, and then there's a lot of text to mash through, and it's just rough on my hand.
Do you recommend you save? Because I used my health potion on Alcyon by accident because I read wrong.
Uh-huh.
Should I save it for Zegat or Reno?
Whichever fight you think is more difficult for you. Personally,
I don't know which one is more difficult.
I think Innova's easier.
Alright, hopefully I won't mess up Anova, but I'll lose time there, because Umi died on Alcyone, and I panicked, and I'm like, oh, I must use my potion here. I was reading the because I'm stupid like that, and I'm really bad at this game.
It happens. It's a tough game to practice just because there's a lot of waiting between stuff.
And also just reading my guide wrong. I still have to use the guide to get through the... Oh, now I need to sit here for another, like, 20 minutes or so with me playing this, seeing all the you saw.
But hey, you're on a sub-3 pace.
Yeah, it's just, I'm gonna lose time in the next fight now.
I believe in
Who
you,
knows
Kari.
if I die against Eternal Spiral or something.
But as you can see in the credits, we will be thanking Mountain Dew. And I believe Code Red as well. I don't remember if they thanked Code Red in this one.
Code Red wasn't out yet.
Oh, okay.
Code Red is only in Growlancer.
Oh, okay. But we're thanking our buddies Mountain Dew. Because without them, we wouldn't have working designs, it seems.
And also patient Saturn fans.
Yeah. Because they waited a long time between announcing this game and releasing it, apparently.
All 8 of them.
And half of them are here. There's surprisingly a lot more Saturn fans than you'd think, but not enough that actually are interested in speedrunning.
Like, I'm becoming a Saturn fan. I need to buy a Saturn. It's going to be after my computer, my next big thing.
Yes, buy a Saturn, speedrun Saturn games. You can use burned discs if you have to, but speedrun Saturn games.
That's probably what I'm going to have to do. There's no Saturn EverDrive.
There's one in the works, but I mean, I don't know if it'll be speedrun legal technically. Depends on how well it emulates load times.
That is a good point.
Like, there's one out right now that replaces the drive with an SD card, and that just, like...
That is instantaneous, actually.
Yeah, instant loads. And then there's another one that's going to be in the video card slot. Basically, there's, like, an expansion slot where you can enter an MPEG decoding card for, like the 2 games that use it. And he's basically using that slot because it can interrupt the CD calls without... And you can use it without having to replace the CD drive. So we thank our buddy Mountain Dew for making this run happen. Might Saturn me down. Alright, so now Kari's entering the Cape of Legend.
GG to Shentok. Everyone give Shentok a round of applause, but let's not forget Kari here. Let's keep it going.
Kari's here on an amazing PB pace.
Yeah. It is not over yet.
I didn't local record, like, just through Amaranth local record again, so I'm gonna have to use the OBS recording for the video once more.
Hey, it's all good.
At least you do that. I don't even do that.
Luckily, I have a 4 terabyte drive in my computer.
Yeah, this recording ended up being like over 300 gigs because I accidentally forgot to set it to 720p and it was recording at 1080p.
That 1080p Saturn.
Fancy.
Well, I have it coming in the capture card at 720p, but I forgot to adjust it in Amaranth.
Yeah, I need to test this capture card with Amaranth to make sure it can actually record when OBS is open. Please stop hitting me, Car. Come here, Nova. Oh, he suddenly, like, dashed over.
Yeah, I mean, you use up your magic. It's really easy. Because especially since you have that extra spell on Umi. He should go down to red color.
If he'd stop running into me, it'd be nice. I can't. He's staying above me for some reason.
Well, that's what you want, is to have him above you.
I thought you wanted him below you, like.
No,
slightly.
he'll never below. He can never be below you. He will always be above you. That's like the way his AI works. Like, he'll only go below you when he's charging at you.
Oop, I didn't know he did that. That electric.
Yeah.
Oh, Umi's down, so we'll see how this goes.
Oh well, Hikaru is just as good. Oh yeah, that electric tech, I forgot about that. He doesn't do that very often. I guess because it's like his most powerful attack. But yeah, his AI is set up in a way where he's gonna where he always tries to be above you so he can do that dash attack.
It's very hard to dodge, though.
Yeah. It's easier with Umi just because she has a longer attack range. But at least you have a lot of healing to back you up. So Fu's heal is really strong. Like after a certain point, it no longer heals you full health, but it's still very strong.
There we go.
Nice.
Not too much, like maybe about a minute, just about a minute lost there.
That's not so bad.
So all of our friends are here, but you just only Fairy.
Yep, Fairy is the only important friend.
Well, all of our alive friends are here.
Yeah. The ones that were strong enough to survive.
They're all the ones that didn't fight us, if you think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So for some reason, Fu loses gets her final Magic Knight form.
What does she lose?
Her glasses. She doesn't need to wear them anymore.
Really? Oh yeah, look at that. I've never noticed that before. I always thought something was
like
off.
A plot point in the manga, they notice it like, Fu, where'd your glasses go? She's like, I don't know. I can see.
It sounds like they just got lazy drawing them.
Hopefully not mess up the last 3 bosses. Because it is kind of late here, so... Please move that ball, or the animation stops. Thing. So yeah, when Zegat is glowing white, he's invincible, so you have to be a little careful with your magic. Just to make sure that you don't waste it, especially Flash.
Yeah, Flash is too important to throw around liberally. Like I said, it just decimates bosses. Although there's only 4 bosses that you get to face with it, like, 3 bosses.
So I didn't even need to use another spell with any more Umi spells. 2 flashes and however many arrows that was, like 3 or 4. I don't know how much MP I have.
Did you waste all your MP?
I did all my MP and then used a potion and then used Flash one.
Okay.
So I didn't need, after the second flash, I didn't need to attack with me again.
Gotcha.
Shmup!
Yep, and now we shmuppin'.
Oop, he wasted my magic because he used his beats.
It's alright. At least you got rid of the bees.
I've gotten 3 bees.
Yeah, he really favors the bees for whatever reason.
And then Umi, even though Umi has, like, things left, I don't have enough to,
Yeah, you can
have enough for, what do you call it?
Did you
Another
use all the
max.
foos?
No, I didn't use foos yet. Holy he is just being horrible. Bees, all the bees.
I noticed that he's like doesn't really use the bees once he loses his shield.
I like wasted all my magic on the bees by accident. Just because I kept getting in the way and I'm trying to hit the guy.
Yeah.
I said I'd be careful with Hikaru now.
Yep.
And I say that and I get hit.
Yeah, you can't. You have to wait for him to attack before he becomes vulnerable.
Because sword.
Yep. Just weird invulnerability frames. Like the moment he finishes that thrust attack is when you can hit him.
And Hikaru's down.
At least Fu is really safe.
Huh?
At least Fu is really safe.
Yeah, it just takes forever.
Yeah.
And the bees! Holy crap, the bees today! I keep getting, usually they don't hit you, but they're just lasering me today.
Yeah.
Fu's really safe, but she takes forever.
Yep. Not as long as Umi though. I mean, for the longest time, I would just use Fu because it was just so safe, and then I actually, went in and tested the damage, and was like, whoa, the card was like crazy fast.
What's the hit difference between Hikaru and Fu?
Let me see if I still have that spreadsheet. There it is. Hikaru's attack takes 20 hits, and Fu's attack takes 30 hits.
Fu just died.
Ooh, and Umi's just a little bit behind that at 32 hits.
Stop sword swiping!
Yeah, he'll start doing like twice in a row. Whoa, he's doing that's 3 times in a row. That's crazy.
This is bad.
I believe in you. At least he didn't get hit by that rogue swipe that he did off screen.
If he does the bees again, then I'm done.
He won't do the bees anymore.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
he did them once.
His health is too low now.
You gotta love any game where you can say he won't do the bees anymore, and it makes absolute perfect sense.
Okay. Only
Nice.
lost a little bit of time there.
Nice, congratulations. That's like that's the scariest part in the fight. And only in the US version that fight is scary. In the Japanese version, he hits like a kitten. Like, I think he only does like 2 points of damage on each hit, which is almost nothing.
Ugh. I feel awful now. Cutscene. There's a cutscene there.
Yep, just of him blowing up.
And we celebrate, and Clef is like, I'm better! I think he was fine all along, really. that silly Clef. He could have broken the spell on himself anytime.
Yeah.
I bet.
But it's not. It wasn't his destiny. It was ours.
This is our story. Alright, lightning, lasers, or sparks, fireballs, repeat.
Yep.
Emerald was very hard, like, when I first played the game. And then I realized, oh wait, she has a pattern.
Yeah, it was the same way for me. It was like, this fight's hard, and then after a while, it's like, oh, duh, she does the same thing every time. I just noticed that.
I hate how it has to, you know, do the giant loading screen and then just for you to get blasted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Saturn didn't have that much memory to load this fight, go back and then load the other fight, and then load it again.
So, also, if you do die against Emerald, the game will just be nice to you and give you max health and MP.
Yeah, and it lets you use that spell twice, even though I don't know if it's faster to use it twice or not, because it's hard to test the damage of that spell because it doesn't kill her, but it does do damage. I guess they never expected anyone to have infinite mana and fight that boss.
I did that backwards. I just used the magic on the orbs, not the sparks.
It's whatever. You got this.
So angry.
What's that? Your magical girls have giant ropes. Totally normal. Yeah, I finished the fight with like 3 health and I got careless.
It doesn't help that there's a bit of lag every time she attacks, especially with the lightning.
Yeah, the lightning, I think it's just like many minutes on to get. Yep, and the head just tracks you, but not completely. Time's coming for Kari soon.
Time.
Alright.
Nice.
GG.
Another PB.
The second ever sub 3 in Magic Knight Rayearth for the Sega Saturn.
Excellent.
And I quantify it for the Sega Saturn because there are other Magic Knight Rayearth games. There's one on the Super Famicom and there's 2 on the Game Gear. And there might be others.
Yeah, the Super Famicom one is the one people actually know most because that got a fan translation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a fan translation for it, and it was like, oh, you know, here's this game, and it's not, you know, $300 or whatever, and not on the Saturn.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your massive PB. That is amazing.
Yeah, my PB was like 309 before, so now it's sub 3.
That is awesome.
Absolutely amazing job. Thank you both for that run. And again, congratulations on the PP. Is there anything that you'd like to say before we move on?
Sega Saturn.
Woo!
Sega Saturn, Shida!
Once again, everyone, give them a great round of applause. We're going to be moving on to X-Men next. That is... Wait, hold on. Did I get that? Yeah, X-Men 2, Clone Wars. However, I will be signing off. That is it for me. I've been on here since, like, 12, so I'm ready for bed. And I will see you guys tomorrow, bright and early, at 9:40 for the Sonic block. So, once again, thank you guys.